Less than 10 to kick off here at Old Trafford. Dean Ashton is with us for commentary of Manchester United against Newcastle. Somebody earlier said to me, can you make a case for Man United? Well, I can. Newcastle's away record is shocking. They've lost 10 on the road, which is only one fewer than Nottingham Forest and Burnley. Bearing in mind they're sixth in the table and at times they look really good. How do you explain such poor away form?
I think the support for a start and what St James's Park can create, I think that would drive any team to a better performance. It's difficult to put your finger on, to be honest, because the contrast is so big for a team that doesn't lack ability, doesn't lack players that can hurt the opposition away from home, and I think Anthony Gordon epitomises kind of that difference. If you look at his record at St James's Park, pretty much 90% of his goals and assists come at home. So I can only put it down to, at the moment, is maybe Eddie Howe's approach in terms of being more aggressive at home, and when they're away from home they tend to be more standoffish and maybe want to play on the counter-attack, which is fine at times, but actually when you watch them at St James's Park, it's the aggression that the opposition struggle with. So why not try and achieve that a little bit more away from home, and see if that works? But it's the one thing at the moment where if you're a Newcastle fan, you could question the manager and say, why can't our away form be better?
Absolutely right. I think serious questions could be asked about that come the end of the season. And the amount of goals they've conceded on the road, 35 Newcastle have conceded away from home. Some context there, that's more than Everton, more than Brentford have conceded away from home. It's the same number of goals conceded away as Burnley. And that defensive record away from home is just not good enough, is it?
No, it's not. And like I said, I do think it is down to a little bit of aggression and having that mindset that you need, and the top teams have it. The top teams, I think, don't differ as much away from home as they do at home. When I watch Manchester City at times, yes, of course they can sit off, but most of the time there's still that same zip about their play. There's still that arrogance, there's still that confidence that I think the top teams have, and Newcastle I think is still growing into it. And he'd have every right to say, well, look at my injury list I've had all season compared to last season where their away form was much better. You know, I think they've struggled to have the confidence to beat teams away from home, whereas at home with the fans behind them, I think they can drag them through.
Let's bring in Henry Winter here, because there's a story in today's Manchester Evening News. Teams are in the tunnel, by the way, but the United talisman, captain Bruno Fernandes, there's a story in the Manchester Evening News, and I'll read the headline. Players doubts over Bruno. First paragraph, United players have doubts that Bruno Fernandes will remain at the club next season. It's basically saying if they don't get European football, or if it's just even Europa Conference League football, he may well be wanting to go and play at a higher level at a different club. First of all, I think fans will read this and be saying, well, hang on a minute, there's no quotes, what's going on? So how true do you think this story is? Would it be well sourced?
Yeah, it will be well sourced, particularly when you look at the individuals involved with it. You don't want stories like that unless you've had some, there is clearly some.
When it says United players have doubts, it will be United players.
Yeah. People don't just write that sort of thing, whatever fans may think. But also, I think they would be absolutely mad to lose Bruno. You look at this starting 11 here, probably 5 of them, maybe 6 of them are worth holding on to. Onana may come good as a goalkeeper. Dalot's probably been their player of the season. Obviously, Kobbie Mainoo, Ahmad possibly, Garnacho clearly, and Bruno. You know, they cannot afford to let elite talent like Bruno leave, so they'll fight all the way for him. He's playing, look, he moans, we know what he's like with referees, he's so annoying, he's a real pest, but he actually cares, and that's what you need with Manchester United at the moment. You need a captain who cares. But look, the fact that he is captain is reflecting on what we've seen under the Glazers over the last 10-15 years. A lack of leadership. There's no real direction, whether it's on the pitch, whether it's been in the dugout, whether it's been in the boardroom. And that is what Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have come in to change, to give this club and then ultimately the team some proper leadership.
Henry, thanks very much. Team shaking hands in front of us here in our Talksport position ahead of commentary of Manchester United Newcastle. Another reason to fancy Manchester United is the return of Bruno Fernandes. saw earlier his goal of the season contender at Burnley, an absolutely magical volley after a brilliant Johnny Evans ball. That's the quality, that moment that he can produce. As Erik ten Hag comes out of the tunnel away to our left, he's greeted by the United mascot. Applause from the United fans in the corner. He returns that applause as he makes his way down the touchline in front of us towards his technical area. Erik ten Hag, he's not in that soggy suit tonight. He's in his raincoat just in case. Manchester United's terrible Premier League season collides with Newcastle's horrendous away record. Something's got to give tonight, live and exclusive on Talksport. It's Manchester United against Newcastle United, with former England striker Dean Ashton alongside Sam Matterface.
Well, Manchester had the strongest desire to remain in Europe back in the referendum days, and nothing has changed. While City continue their almost unrelenting march to another title, United just want the chance to be a player on the continental stage. I mean, scrapping into the Conference League is a bit like giving Old Trafford a lick of paint when the roof is caving in, but it's all about optics, isn't it? And for Erik ten Hag, they matter right now. His team have to win tonight. It was Newcastle's leaky defence that was threatening to ruin their campaign early in the season, but they did manage to stem the flow, and tonight can position themselves on the coattails of Tottenham Hotspur with a win here. Both will want news of Chelsea, who are in action against Brighton on Talksport 2. It's still 0-0. Chelsea will want United to win or draw so they can sneak into the top 6. But both Manchester and Newcastle are united in that aim too. Here are the two teams. Manchester United making just the one change. Fernandes is in, and the big change is that Newcastle have won the toss and they're going to turn Manchester United round to face the Stretford end in the first half. Onana is the goalkeeper. Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Evans and Dalot are the back four. Mainu and Amrabat, the two holders in midfield, with Ahmad, McTominay and Garnacho behind. We think Bruno Fernandes leading the line. Newcastle have Dubravka in goal, Trippier, Kraft, Burn and Hall. That's the back four. Longstaff, Bruno Guimaraes and Anderson in midfield. Murphy, Isaac and Gordon up top. Referee is Rob Jones. VAR is Jared Gillett. It is Manchester United's final home game of the season. It may be Erik ten Hag's final game at Old Trafford. After a dreadful season, can they make a lasting impression? Dean Ashton is with me. Newcastle have won just one of their last 38 league visits to Old Trafford since 1972. But they've never had a better chance, have they?
No, they haven't. And if you look back at the performance in the League Cup, I thought they showed that aggression that they can show at times, Newcastle. The same's here tonight.
Immediately, Isaac picks the ball up and sends it to Gordon, left-hand side. His dazzling feet get him into the penalty area. Lewis Hall with an early cross into the box. Isaac with a header, away by Dalot inside the 6-yard box, and it's cleared out towards the edge of the D. Comes back out towards the near side again. Murphy recycles the ball into the centre, and it's caught by Andre Onana, and he will gather it up and get it clear away to our left-hand side. Onana, who actually has improved as the season has gone on. He's made 142 saves in the Premier League this season. Only Thomas Kaminski of Luton has made more, 143, so he'll probably eclipse that tonight.
Yeah, that's outrageous, to be honest, for a Manchester United goalkeeper to have to be that busy, but it just showed straight away, as Isaac does well.
And he's picked it up again, right side of the area, tries to get into the box, gets it onto his left foot, drives the ball well wide of goal, 7 or 8 yards wide of goal in the end, as it fizzes away behind the goal away to our right. The noise you can hear is from the Manchester United fans away to our, the Newcastle United fans away to our right. There's about 2,500, maybe 2,700 of them who have made the journey across from east to west, and they've been in fine voice ever since they've been in the ground.
And Isak, when he gets into those positions, he's just so clever with the way that he dribbles and he manipulates the ball, whether it's with the inside or the outside, and he drifts it to both, and it's right and left foot that he can use, the inside and the outside of his foot when he dribbles. Makes it so difficult for defenders to know which way he's going to go.
Ball cleared by Onana, upfield towards McTominay. who may well be the man they aim at from distance. It's a strange Manchester United formation. There is no out-and-out striker, is there? McTominay and Fernandes almost sharing duties as two number 10s, Dean. I mean, obviously for you, that is an anathema, isn't it? Seeing a side without a proper number 9.
Yes, horrible, isn't it? And, I mean, look, Bruno will play that role as such. But actually, I like McTominay being in that role. I actually think it's probably his best position, even though it's usually Bruno that plays it. Gordon almost getting onto the end of a ball which spooned into the air after Amrabat was challenged by Longstaff. It comes out to the near side. Trippier deals with it. One back by Dalot. Not taken in well enough by Fernandes. Kraft pinches the ball inside his own territory and then just right-hand side of the defence. And it's going to be cleared away from our left-hand side by Newcastle United. Just moments ago over on Talksport 2, Brighton against Chelsea. Chelsea given a penalty. And then VAR overturned it after going to the monitor. So no penalty for Chelsea. I'm sure Maurizio Pochettino's not happy about that. Ball up into the halfway line. And again, Murphy, for the second time in quick succession, is fouled on halfway. It's a free kick to Newcastle, just left of centre. Never in Premier League history have Newcastle finished above Manchester United, but they would love it, absolutely love it, if they could win here tonight. Just a point actually will do the job, I think. Here is Casemiro forward towards the halfway line, dispossessed again, and Newcastle come forward. Here's Gordon from Isak inside the area, tries to get away from Amrabat. His tackle was a clean one, and it's scooped up and away by Evans, and then from Wan-Bissaka to the far side and cleared away by Bruno Fernandes. But already it's been just far too easy for Newcastle to get into shooting positions, Dean. It is when Manchester United lose the ball, their shape is always lopsided, and actually Amrabat did well there, because Newcastle were away. Isak into Gordon. Amrabat did the job that holding midfield players should do, which is to follow the ball, to sense danger. It was a good sliding challenge from him.
Amrabat, who actually played all right in the game against Arsenal at the weekend. He hasn't had too many good games in a Manchester United jersey since signing from Fiorentina, but it was only his first start since December on Sunday when he played against Arsenal. 5 minutes gone. Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0. Live on Talksport tonight at Old Trafford. The ball is over on the far side with Longstaff. It goes back towards halfway, and then McTominay snaps into a challenge with Bruno Guimaraes, and it goes all the way back into the Newcastle half of the field. Down the right it goes from Trippier, looking for the run of Murphy, takes a flick off Dalot and goes out for a Newcastle throw, and they progress further down this touchline on this near side.
I also think we've seen more of this from Manchester United, where even here at Old Trafford they will sit a little deeper and get Fernandes and McTominay this evening dropping into a position in their own half and just allowing the opposition to have possession at the back.
Well, Manchester United have their fewest points, most defeats, most goals conceded, and joint fewest wins at this stage of any Premier League season. Since February the 24th, only Sheffield United, Luton and Forest have won fewer points. I'm not entirely sure that with a record like that, we've had injuries, is going to cut it. Anderson for Newcastle, midway inside the Manchester United half. Gordon takes over. He's on the wide left for Newcastle, attacking the goal away to our right, and those black and white striped jerseys, black shorts and white socks. There's a crunching tackle from Guimaraes, which sends the ball out towards the far side. Collected by Anderson, then back to Gordon once again as they progress forward. Lewis Hall drops back into his position in the left back area. He's started a couple of games now in the Newcastle defence after spending most of the campaign on the bench. Down the right, the ball goes from Trippier, and he tries to bend it in behind the Manchester United defence. Mainly watched it and had to dab it behind and away for the first corner of the game in front of Longstaff, who'd broken from midfield.
Such a placid start from Manchester United, and also they've been so poor on the ball. 3 or 4 times now they've just cheaply given it away to Newcastle, and they're already growing in confidence. And at the very least, if you are going to sit slightly deeper as a Manchester United team, you've got to have some intensity still after the ball.
Trivia to take the corner from the near side, the first corner of the game. Manchester United sometimes a little bit vulnerable from these set-piece situations. Lose out to a Burn header, first contact inside the box, headed away by Amrabat, back in by Gordon, away by Casemiro, still not clear. Wan-Bissaka runs to the edge of the area, then gets it out of the box, then turns it back to Casemiro, who eventually elevates the ball to this near touchline. 0-0 the score. We play just nearly 8 minutes here on Talksport, and it's Manchester United in possession, but they've had to deal with the most attacks from Newcastle so far. We've had no forays into opposition territory with any real gusto from Manchester United. The only semblance of goalmouth action we've had have come from Newcastle United players in the opening 8 minutes of the game. 0-0, but here comes Scott McTominay over on the far side, gets beyond Burn, runs towards the edge of the area, is dragged back by Burn. It's going to be a free kick to Manchester United in a dangerous position. Half-time in the WSL, and it looks like Chelsea are on course to go back on top. Ian Abrahams.
They are. Spurs 0, Chelsea 1. A victory puts them on top. The goal on 37 minutes. Ball in from the left-hand side by Gura Wrighton for Makia Hamano to slide in from 5 yards out. At the break, Spurs 0, Chelsea 1.
And a goal in the Scottish Premiership. David Tanner.
And it's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 3 now. 35 minutes on the clock. This time the goal scored by James Forrest. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 3.
Back here, that free kick yet to be taken. We're just about to hit the 9-minute mark on Talksport. We've had all 4 seasons so far here today, by the way. Bright sunshine now, just trying to peer through the clouds, the slate grey fluffy clouds that are above the Sir Alex Ferguson stand opposite us. Floodlights on at Old Trafford. Manchester United attacking the Stretford end. The ball with Fernandes, whose delivery is brilliant, in towards the edge of the 6-yard box, punched away by Dubravka, comes back and an overhead kick from Casemiro goes over the top of the crossbar.
Yeah, just kept it alive there. Amrabat just heading it back in, and Burn hadn't got out. He was lazy to get out with his defence and allowed Casemiro just to try and drop that over his head and try the overhead kick, and not everybody can do it from that position at Old Trafford.
Just put in Ashton YouTube Old Trafford and you'll get a bit of a tutorial. Do you want to take us through the biomechanics of it?
Just left arm up, left leg follows, right leg follows, backside bruised.
I'm sure if it nestles in the back of the net, though, you don't mind that. Here is Anderson skipping away from Casemiro, trying to release Gordon. A little bit too heavy with his ball through the middle of the park there, Elliot Anderson. But again, it's too easy for them to get through, to get past that Manchester United midfield and get to the edge of the penalty area. Andre Onana hasn't had to do much so far this evening, but you get the feeling that he's going to have to increase that number of saves. Here is Garnacho going down the left. Across comes Trippier to get it out of play on this near side, and it is away for a throw-in to Manchester United on this near touchline. It remains 0-0 on Talksport, with the aim for both these two to get into the top 6 of the Premier League. Lovely ball over the top for Bruno Fernandes. Out comes Dubravka and heads it away from Fernandes, who was charging in behind that Newcastle defence. Mainu, good turn after it breaks down, going up to Isak, gets to the edge of the penalty area, left side for Manchester United. Garnacho with a cross into the box, headed away by Kraft, and then it comes out towards the halfway line, and Manchester United start again.
Brilliant from Mainu. Ball came into him, he just had a tiny little look over his left shoulder and then a Cruyff touch between his legs and he was away. Just lent it to Garnacho, and that's where he has to improve. Alejandro Garnacho is that delivery from the wide area. He's brilliant when he dribbles, but when he then slows it down and is ready to deliver, it's got to be better.
Well, Manchester United rode an early storm actually here on Sunday, and they gave as good as they got for a little bit, but without ever really stretching David Raya in the Arsenal goal. They'll have to test Dubravka tonight if they want to get anything from this game.
Another poor decision from Amrabat, trying to go flying in and win the ball, gives a foul away, and he just did it a moment before when Elliot Anderson just skipped past him. When you're that last line in midfield, if you are going to go and completely commit yourself, you better get it. And then as soon as the free kick was taken, it was kicked straight at Mainu. He was then penalised for not being 10 yards. Manchester United thought they'd won it back and they hadn't. Newcastle have got it and they're charging towards goal with Longstaff, who tries to play a no-look pass into Gordon. He was aiming his head towards Jacob Murphy, but went to play the ball reverse to Gordon, didn't pull it off, and it was a rather positive looking attack where it was 4-on-3 in Newcastle's favour, but they didn't really maximise.
No, I mean, there's no look and then there's blind.
Here is Dallow trying to get the ball into the penalty area from the left-hand side. The game going from end to end at this moment in time. A little bit chaotic at Old Trafford. Hall doesn't help the situation by just lofting the ball into the night sky. Drops for Manchester United, and midway inside Newcastle territory, Fernandes finds Evans, who finds Amrabat. Then on to Wan-Bissaka, who trips across towards McTominay, whose header is tame and easily stopped by Dubravka. 0-0.
Decent little dink in the box though from Wan-Bissaka, looking for McTominay, who's got the height on Kraft, but Kraft did really well actually. He just sort of shoved his body in towards McTominay just as he was trying to head the ball. It meant he couldn't get any power on the header whatsoever, and it just drops to the goalkeeper. Really good defending.
He's done brilliant, Emil Kraft, by the way, to come back from the injury that he had and then just slowly but surely fill in the middle of the defence. He's not a central defender, he's a right back really, but he's done a super job for Newcastle United. Offside flag is up against Isaac. And you are listening to Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0 on Talksport with Now. And don't forget, with Now you can stream all the Sky Sports action. Like Manchester United versus Newcastle, live right now, contract free. With a Now membership, search Now Sports.
Amrabat, I'm just closely keeping an eye on him because of that position that he's playing. And every time Newcastle try to play, he is willing to spring out of that position and completely expose then the centre-backs if Newcastle get ahead of him. It's a dangerous tactic to play, I think, against this type of Newcastle team that have got that pace on the break.
What worried me more than anything else was when Andre Onana started to come out into the middle of the Manchester United half, when the play was quite squeezed, and get involved as almost an extra central defender. And then they started playing the ball short in front of him, and I thought, if they lose it now, they're in trouble. Here's Ahmad, edge of the area, firing a shot in, comes back to Wan-Bissaka, who bundles forward, felt that he was being tugged back. Gordon gets it clear. It's with Mainu on the far side as Manchester United come forward again. Edge of the area, it's Fernandes, scoops it back towards Mainu, right side of the box, into the area, fended behind by a rather confused Dan Burn, who didn't catch it with his right foot, then lolloped it out with his left foot, and it goes out for the first corner of the game for Manchester United. 0-0.
Lovely play from Mainu and Fernandes. Mainu first of all with the touch, and then the little pass in towards Fernandes, who straight away just flicked it over the top for Mainu. Burn eventually getting it away.
16 gone. Ball bent towards the back edge of the area. It's gone over everyone and come back to Garnacho's shot. Well, he didn't really catch it right. I think he was being closed down at the last, and he rushed it and dragged the ball towards the near post. It was 5 yards wide, but everybody got drawn towards the ball. It went over their heads, and there was a bit of space there for Garnacho. They didn't, once again, maximise or capitalise on the situation. It remains goalless on Talksport. Manchester United fans packed in here once again in the Stretford end, the Sir Alex Ferguson stand up in the scoreboard end away to our right, and this the Sir Bobby Charlton stand where we're sitting just right at the halfway line towards the back of the stand. And bearing in mind the fare that they've served up over the season, the fans have stuck with them brilliantly, really. Of the last 10 matches, United have won just one match in 90 minutes, and that was against Sheffield United. Here's Garnacho into Fernandes, spreads the play to the wide right. There's no one there. It's over Wan-Bissaka's head. It was well misplaced by Fernandes. It goes out of play and away for a throw in the left full-back position.
And when Fernandes does drop, which he'll want to do because he'll want to get involved, it is McTominay then who is playing as the striker. I wonder if there is an issue with Højlund, because I think he always gives you an energy up there. He gives you that threat in behind as well, so a little surprised that he didn't start.
Well, is the issue 1 goal in 10 games?
Yeah, but you don't not play him because of that, personally, in a team that's lacking a striker anyway.
He had scored 7 in his previous 6 before then. 14 goals in his first season in the team at Manchester United. I think probably as a 21-year-old playing your first season in English football, that's not bad, is it?
Not considering the service, no. I think he's really lacked genuine service from wide areas. I think Fernandes has got the quality, but from wide areas, whether it's been Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford, they've not given him the service that I think he requires, because I think he is flash it across the box and he'll get in front of defenders. I think he's that type of player.
Onana playing out from the back, straight ball into Casemiro. He gets it off Fernandes and then lifts it over the top towards Ahmad. Flicked onto Mainu down the left channel. Now he's into the box and tees up Garnacho. Garnacho surrounded by 3 black and white jerseys immediately. Bruno Guimaraes does superbly. So does Dalot to win it back and try and poke it forward. Trippier comes across, shuts down the attack. It's another corner for Manchester United.
And Bruno Fernandes is down on the turf. He took a whack there. He was just trying to protect the ball. But Garnacho has made a really, really poor start to the game. Well, he's young, of course he is, and have inconsistencies, but having given Ben White a genuinely tough afternoon against Arsenal, he's not started the game with much confidence.
Corner kick then to Manchester United. Away to our left-hand side in front of the Stretford end. And there are 6 inside the area wearing red for Bruno Fernandes to Ahmad. The ball's still on the plinth away to our left-hand side. And he's taking his time over getting ready for it, Bruno Fernandes. Casemiro's just having a drink behind the goal. Don't rush, lads. Cole Palmer's in a bit of a rush. He scored once again. Cole Palmer on the score sheet. Brighton 0, Chelsea 1 on Talksport 2. Ball towards the back edge of the penalty area. Ahmad hits it first time. Crashed away by the Newcastle defence. Comes out as far as the midpoint of the Newcastle half. Amrabat stops Gordon from escaping, and then it's picked up by Ahmad again over on the far side. He loses his footing, slips on the greasy turf. It goes out for a throw-in.
But they've weathered that early Newcastle pressure growing into the game. Manchester United just looking to get Fernandes on the ball as much as possible. He's actually been in decent form towards the end of this season, Bruno Fernandes.
Oh, he's been brilliant. He's been the only source of goals, hasn't he, over the course of the last few appearances. I know he's missed the last 2 games with a hand injury, and I don't think the fact that United have failed to score in both of those is a coincidence.
No, not at all. Got a bit of work to do yet to get the Cantona cast look.
Well, there's no collar on this jersey, which doesn't help him, I don't think, you know. Gordon over on the far touchline for Newcastle United. I was listening to a brilliant interview that he did with Gary Neville on the overlap, actually talking about how he tailors his own fitness programme, uses visualisation methods, devours books on sports leadership and performance. He's got 20 goal involvements in the Premier League this season, which is damn impressive. Here he is on the ball once again, leaving it for Lewis Hall, and then Hall cracks it right from the edge of the area, straight down the throat of Onana, and it's a routine save.
Yeah, obviously getting a run in the team, Hall, and I think this is where his strength lies, is getting forwards, showing that energy. He's got a real look of Chilwell about him in terms of the way he just strides forward, and he's confident with that left foot and confident enough to take the strike on.
Evans up to halfway into Fernandes, back wide to the left touchline, and on the attack comes Garnacho, tries to get on the outside of Trippier, had the beating of him for pace, but then Trippier just managed to position himself in an area to stop any attempt at a cross. Comes back to Bruno Fernandes and then back wide towards Garnacho, but it's too heavy. Garnacho's not going to reach that. It's going to slide behind and away for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. So 22 gone, Manchester United 0. Newcastle United 0. The Newcastle fans are the ones that are providing the soundtrack so far tonight. Buoyant, knowing that their team have come into form at just the right time. 6 wins in the last 8 matches, powered in part by the supreme forward play of Alex Isak, the finishing ability of the Swede, who's got 15 goals in his last 19 appearances. Made his 50th Premier League appearance in the 1-1 draw against Brighton at the weekend.
And in Premier League history, Dean, only 9 players have scored more goals in their first 50 Premier League games.
Yeah, that is impressive.
Talking of impressive, Celtic about to clinch the title. David Tanner.
It's half-time, Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 3, Sam. A point would be enough tonight for Celtic to clinch the title this evening, but they're on fire. Adam Ida, Dyson Maida and veteran James Forrest with the goals so far. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 3 at half-time.
Well done to them. Let's just have a quick look at the Premier League table, because with Chelsea winning and these two drawing, at this moment in time, Chelsea will go up into 6th, Newcastle 7th, Manchester United 8th. And that's how it will be going into the final day of the season if the results stay as they are at this moment in time. Manchester United have never finished 8th, by the way, in the Premier League. They've never finished lower than 7th in the Premier League. Here's Dalot, Amrabat, back to the centre circle where Johnny Evans is waiting for it. And he can remember times a little bit brighter than the ones that he's been accustomed to over the last 10 months since being back at the grand old place. Problem is when he walked into the dressing rooms in Old Trafford and Carrington itself, he probably realised that not much has changed in the 10 years that he was away.
I think Newcastle have shown already in this game, coming up to 24 minutes, both sides of how they've been away from home. They made such a great start.
Here's Murphy drifting the ball into the box towards the far post. It's headed away by Wan-Bissaka. Not a great header by Dalot. Garnacho under pressure from Murphy. Just about gets it back to Dalot. From the left full-back position, manages to hoist it clear. Fernandez goes on the scamper. Doesn't manage to keep it in. It's a Newcastle ball inside their own half.
Yeah, they made such a good start. And they were on top of Manchester United. And for some reason, they've then gone back into their own shape. And gone deep, and you sort of think, why, when Manchester United are lacking confidence and you've got the upper hand, would you then sit deep? And again, it has to come to what the manager's instructing the players.
It'll be interesting to see how the game pans out. I just get the feeling that there will be a chance for one of their two incredibly speedy players to get in behind the Manchester United defence, and when that happens, Manchester United are going to be in massive trouble. Here's Gordon, infield to Anderson. And they're a sensible team, aren't they, Newcastle? They try to be in control of the situation. They're not a super front foot chaotic team that put you under huge amounts of pressure. I was at the Tottenham game at home the other week, and actually, they just bided their time, then picked Tottenham off on the break. I mean, it was far too easy for them. I think it's going to be as simple for them here tonight, but they've got those deadly wingers in Murphy and Gordon. Gordon in particular has been in great form since the international break. And then the rampant goal scorer, Alexander Isak. There'll be a threat from set pieces with Trippier back in the team as well. Here's Byrne, just inside his own half of the field. Across to Lewis Hall. Hall looks up, slides it forward, finds Isak. And then there's a dart from midfield by Longstaff. At the far post is Murphy. The cross from the left by Anderson isn't great, but it comes back to him after it's poorly defended. He continues, gets to the byline, tees it back up for Gordon. Gordon's on the angle of the area. Now motors towards the edge of the box, cuts in on his right foot, leaves it for Bruno Guimaraes. He hits it, blocked by Mainu into the air. Forward down the right by Kraft. It's collected by Trippier. Decent looking cross. Casemiro away. Bruno Guimaraes trying to get there. McTominay does brilliantly, uses his body to edge him out the way and then release Fernandez. He darts upfield, gets to the halfway line, gives it to Garnacho, who returns it. Fernandez back over the top to Garnacho, in behind, needs an option, hasn't got one, goes for goal, saved by Dubravka, who made himself like a starfish, and it's scrambled behind for another corner.
Yeah, it was a good save in the end from Dubravka. The angle narrowed for Garnacho, just accelerated into the penalty area towards the point of the 6-yard box. And then as Dubravka came out, he made sure that left leg was out to stop Garnacho, just trying to curl it into that far corner. Good stop that. Nick Pope, by the way, back on the bench again tonight. It won't be too long before he's back in the Newcastle goal. Dubravka, who was on loan here at Manchester United last season. Ball in by Fernandez towards the near post, flicked by Isak, and it almost squirted through to McTominay. Comes to Ahmed, edge of the box, and he elevates the ball far too high.
And he just sort of swiped at it from the edge of the box. It was a bit behind him, and he sent it high into the Stretford end, away to our left.
Something tells me that Dubravka might have left that medal in his flat in Manchester.
Yeah, I don't think you can get away with turning up to the Newcastle training ground with it hanging around your neck.
Although that would be good.
Yeah, not if you want to stay there.
No. There's some players that appreciate that.
Here is Emil Kraft, the Swede. Back to Dubravka once again inside his own half of the field. Eddie Howe hoping to steer Newcastle to back-to-back top 6 finishes. Something Newcastle haven't done since the era of Sir Bobby Robson. Here is Gordon getting away from Wan-Bissaka down the left-hand side, trying to slide it forward. Wan-Bissaka gets back at him, nudges it behind. It's away for a corner.
Needed to play that first time into Isak. Gordon, he did brilliantly well. I mean, he just sensed that Casemiro was there. First touch round the corner, Casemiro absolutely left. Hasn't got the pace whatsoever to stay with Gordon, and then he gets on the other side of Wan-Bissaka. But you only get one chance usually with Aaron Wan-Bissaka because he's so tenacious in his defensive work.
Manchester United 0, Newcastle United 0. That's the latest scoreline from here at Old Trafford. 1-0 to Chelsea in the Premier League. Ball is out for a corner. Trippier to take it. So deadly with that right foot. He arrows the ball towards the far stick. Byrne is up there with a header. Under pressure from Mainu. Isak went up, jumped, didn't reach it. Ahmad tries to get it clear. Manchester United trying to fumble it away. There's a bit of pushing and shoving, which referee Rob Jones didn't like, and it's going to be a free kick on the edge of the box for Manchester United.
I mean, part of Manchester United's attacking threat has been Onana. When he's got the ball, Onana's looking first time in behind the Newcastle defence for Garnacho or Mainu, who's making that late run.
That's one of the reasons that they bought him, wasn't it? You know, his passing range, his ability with his feet. Maybe he needs to translate that to Aaron Wan-Bissaka, because he's just put the ball out of play over on the far side rather casually. But that's a major facet of his game, and we haven't really seen much of that over the course of the season, have we?
No, I don't think we have. And he's got the range. I think he's got every pass in the book,
every club in the bag, as you might say.
Why didn't I? It's poor from me.
Yeah, especially since you spent the afternoon playing at Mottram Hall.
Lovely afternoon.
Yes, if you don't know where Mottram Hall is, just imagine the greatest manor house in the northwest of England, and a superbly manicured golf course, which is exclusively the preserve of the rich and the famous and Dean Ashton. Here is Trippier up over the halfway line, headed away by Diego Dalot, nods it into midfield. Amrabat trying to get away, nudges it to Dalot once again. Bruno Fernandes, has he got an issue in the middle of the park there? He doesn't look particularly happy. He's got the ball now, hoiks it over the head of Anderson, feeds Wan-Bissaka, needs a better ball this time. He gets it onto Scott McTominay, being matched stride for stride with Dan Byrne. Goes back to Wan-Bissaka again, and again it's good defensive shape by Newcastle because they just keep Manchester United at arm's length. Amrabat back wide, Amad Diallo cutting in from the right side, chipping it onto his left foot, then tries to feed Fernandes, comes to Mainu, all the time in the world to slot it into the corner and put Manchester United into the lead. Kobbie Mainu free inside the box, and with speculation rife, doubts everywhere, maybe Manchester United are going to finish with a united front. Kobbie Mainu inside the box, fed by a combination of Amad Diallo, a little bit of awareness from Fernandes, and there was the England youngster to turn and fire home into the corner to give Manchester United the lead, 1-0.
Well, I mean, the finish is so cool and calm. Nothing like what it should feel like when you're a young player. There's no panic there from Kobbie Mainu. There's the ball in from Ahmed towards Fernandes, and he actually leaves it in the end, whether he gets a shout or not from Kobbie Mainu. But he finds himself completely free because he just drifts in there late. Penalty spot, takes one touch, gives Dubravka the eyes and just whips it across the Newcastle goalkeeper into the left corner. It's a lovely finish from the young man.
Erik ten Hag sends 2 fists up to the sky. Kobbie Mainoo celebrates his 4th goal of the season, the youngest player to start 15 games in the Premier League this season, and he's on the score sheet for Manchester United. And you do just wonder, looking back at that, what were the Newcastle defence playing at? In particular, Trippier just seemed to leave him and allow him to take that touch and then stroke it into the corner.
Well, I don't think he was looking to actually do anything against Mainoo. He was marking someone else, but he was certainly left in there.
Here is Longstaff responding at the other end with a trickling ball through the 6-yard box. No one gambling at the far post, and it goes out and away for a goal kick to Manchester United. Almost an immediate response from Newcastle.
I mean, Trippier was 3 or 4 yards behind his defence. The only thing I can think is that he thinks it's Fernandes who's going to take control of it, and it misses Fernandes on purpose or not, I'm not too sure. And then Mainoo was completely free because no midfield player had tracked him.
Strange. I'd like to see a replay of it, to be honest, to see whether or not there was maybe someone thinking that there might have been an offside there, which is why they were a little bit hesitant at the back, Newcastle. But they have really sort of tightened up quite well at the back in recent weeks. Maybe Trippier a little bit ring rusty, just dropping back a little bit too deep and not keen enough to get out, and as a result playing them all on side. So this is how it will look. Manchester United with that goal now go level on points with Newcastle, not enough to overtake them because Newcastle's goal difference is so far superior. Manchester United 57 points in 8th place, Newcastle United in 7th, and Chelsea into 6th with 60 points. But here is Gordon into the area, trying to get beyond the defender, goes down after being sandwiched between 2, Amrabat and Casemiro. Casemiro got the ball.
He did, but Amrabat was sloppy again on the ball. And Gordon was sharp and bright and alert and took the ball off him, drove into the penalty area. It's just whether Amrabat, did he have his hand on his back to pull him at all? But the tackle from Casemiro was outstanding.
Well, Rob Jones stopping the game will just calm things down and wait for a little look from the VAR. Well, there was an arm on the shoulder. In fact, there was 2 hands on Anthony Gordon at one point. Certainly he was doing his best to pull him back. Whether or not that would be deemed as enough contact to give a penalty, I'm not entirely sure. There was definitely contact from behind as well from Amrabat, who collided with his feet, actually.
He did, but personally, for me, that's just typical battling contact. That's not pulling the shirt, that's not yanking his shoulder, that's just you trying to be strong and get your arm across to hold Gordon.
2 lads coming together?
Yes.
That was the phrase that Andre Onana used at the beginning of the season when he punched the Wolves striker in the face. He actually said to me, there's nothing wrong with it, it's just 2 big lads coming together. Halfway line free kick up towards the edge of the penalty area. It drops for Kraft, he hits it, bounces off Amrabat, out as far only as Longstaff. They recycle it here, Newcastle. Come down the near side, chipped by Murphy to the far post, header down and off the line. Did it go over? The referee said no. Burns' header cleared off the line and Manchester United survived. Newcastle was certain they were going to score an equaliser. Good header from Burn, good defending from Manchester United, who's got back on the line and managed to clear it. Here they come down the left-hand side with Anderson into the box. Onana just about gloves it and clears it away.
I mean, it was a brilliant cross from Murphy. It was really all he could do. Rather than trying to flash it into the defender's legs, he just stood it up to the back post. Burn with a big header downwards past Onana, and it is so close.
Oh my word.
Casemiro, brilliant initiative to get himself back into an area where he could head it away. And it obviously then all eyes at the referee, and he was in the just outside the area. Robert Jones staring at his watch like you would do when your kids are late.
Well, I think when we see the GDS replay, that ball is going to be 90% over the line. Casemiro getting back brilliantly. Yellow card for Elliot Anderson for a foul on Ahmed over on the far side, generates a free kick. And the free kick which will be taken over on that far touchline by Bruno Fernandes. And it's about 20 yards from the edge of the box, right side, right on the touchline. He plays it short, gives it to Ahmed, then wants it back again. Ahmed's ball back to him is dreadful, and it allows Gordon to go across and slide the ball out of play and away for a throw down by the corner flag. Bit of a waste of a free kick.
Yeah, that would warrant a heated debate at half-time if I was a forward or a centre-back that's gone up into that area.
Poor old Johnny Evans only just got up there, and now he's got to get back. It's going to take him to the bank holiday, I would have thought. Here's Ahmad far side. Where are we going with this? Anthony Gordon's left ankle. It looks like it's been severely damaged by that collision. Well, the sock's been ripped. There's a rake down the back of the Achilles.
That's because Casemiro absolutely cleaned him out, but got the ball first. Brilliant challenge, and that's what used to happen regularly.
Amrabat's heel looks a little bit worse for wear.
Also, we're not sure nowadays. The players love to just cut the back of the socks, don't they?
What is that all about?
Do not get me started on that.
There's a hefty challenge by Bruno Guimaraes on Casemiro. He's gone down and he doesn't look particularly comfortable at all. The referee is going to stop the game here, and immediately they want to get the physios on to deal with him. It was a nasty fall, that, and he's not at all happy, Casemiro.
No, it's one of those that you just hate to see when a player goes up for the header and almost takes a ride slightly off. It's actually his own player, McTominay, and it kind of then twists his body in the air and lands awkwardly.
That is one of those where you can wind yourself and take the whole block of air out of your lungs very quickly. And he's getting treatment now on the field of play, and they're just checking that he's no further damage to higher up the body by the neck and the shoulders. He's just cleared a brilliant attempt off the line at the other end. Dan Byrne's effort went towards goal, and he just about got back to get it clear from inside the goal. He was actually in the goal mouth. And Lisandro Martinez, just warming up down in front of us, gets the acclaim from the Old Trafford crowd as he goes through his paces just in case he is required. Casemiro's up and ready for action. Brighton behind at home at half-time to Chelsea by 1-0. Cole Palmer with his latest strike. Manchester United leading here by 1-0, and Celtic on the verge of the title in Scotland. In the WSL, Tottenham 0, Chelsea 1, Chelsea going back to the top of the table. The top of the table with the final day at the weekend, and Chelsea coming here to Old Trafford, and should they win and win well enough, they will be champions again in Emma Hayes' last game in charge. Murphy, who looked like he was being dragged from the shirt down to the floor by Dalot, has won a corner.
I think in the end it was a very good challenge from Dalot. I'm not too sure about how much of a shirt pull there genuinely was, but as I talked about, you think what have they actually been able to achieve, particularly Newcastle in this half? Not that much.
Trippier's delivery easily dealt with by Bruno Fernandes. Goes back as far as Hall. Hall motors forward. Scored his only senior goal here against Manchester United in the Cup. Back to Trippier near side. First time ball into the box, steered behind by Amrabat. And the Newcastle fans away to our right just turn up the volume a little bit because they've got another corner just before half-time.
That's now 3 or 4 times Amrabat's got himself into a great position defensively, just sensing the danger.
Here's the corner, deep one, comes all the way through to Bruno Guimaraes. He just took his eye off the ball, and it goes out to the far side. Manchester United leading by a goal to nil. Ball switched towards the far post. Trippier keeps it alive, steers it back into the centre. Casemiro backpedaling, puts it over the top and sends it away for another corner. Well, when they do get the ball wide, they do get it to Trippier, to Gordon, they can open up this Manchester United defence. They just haven't been able to come up with the way to unlock the door.
Brilliant pass from Gordon. Trippier doing the right thing. Casemiro good defending.
Another delivery in towards Bruno Guimaraes, whose header is well wide of the goal.
I mean, how can that happen twice, where Trippier plays the ball in, it lands at Guimaraes' feet and he miscontrols it? The next corner, the exact same happens. Guimaraes has then a free header, makes a complete mess of it, looking to head it into the far corner, almost heads it back to Trippier.
But no one's paying him any attention, like none. It's almost as if he's wearing a cloak of invisibility inside there.
A bad one.
Why did no one go and pick him up? Who was detailed to mark him?
Because everyone's focused just on doing their job in terms of zonal. Just literally, I'm in my own zone and that's it.
Here's Garnacho inside the box trying to get sent away by McTominay. The offside flag's going to go up against him. Well, Manchester United's boss has constantly highlighted the mitigating circumstances, but lose tonight and they would have lost 10 home games for the first time in their history. I'm going to suggest that in over 100 years there's been greater cause for a poorer season than this. He will be delighted that without having to do too much, they are in front in the game. Kobbie Mainoo with the goal. It was a bit of a gift from Newcastle United. We'll go to Kilmarnock in just a second. Newcastle have the ball on halfway. Back to Dan Burn, whose header was cleared off the line. Hall swishes it from left side to right, looking for the run of Trippier, who's scampered into the right wing position. He gets up to the edge of the area where he finds Guimaraes, who's trying to turn past Scott McTominay, who doggedly sticks to his task. He waits, feeds the ball into the right side, comes back to Trippier and then Guimaraes again. Burn, Hall, and then further on towards the left where it's collected by Elliot Anderson. Anderson into Hall once more, who slides it into the path of Gordon, and that wispy figure with blonde hair goes on the outside of Amrabat, beats him, pulls it back through the area, takes a deflection, goes behind. It's out for another corner. It's another electric run from Anthony Gordon. Let's get the goal at Kilmarnock. David Tanner.
And it's now Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 4. Celtic's player of the year, Matt O'Reilly, left-footed from the edge of the box. A cracking finish from a super player. It's now 51 minutes gone. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 4.
Had about 20 shots on Saturday, didn't he, from the edge of the area before eventually scoring his goal. He was brilliant on Saturday, Matt O'Reilly. Ball delivered from the corner to the far post. Byrne picks it up and it's cleared away towards this near side and out for a throw-in. 3 minutes of added time at the end of the first half. Manchester United lead by a goal to nil on Talksport. And that goal coming from Kobbie Mainoo. Byrne, very simple 1-2 to get Murphy down the right-hand side. He pulls it back inside the box. There's no one there to get on the end of it. And Newcastle are frustrated. Manchester United trying to escape. Sent out wide towards the far side. Ahmad gets hold of it now. Runs towards the edge of the box. Tries to feed McTominay. His shot blocked by Byrne. Goes out of play over on the far side. Manchester United 1, Newcastle 0 on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has 450 branches with all your vehicle business needs.
Brilliant play by Bruno Fernandes. Just held the ball long enough to allow the movement to take place, and it was Diallo on that far side, and he just waited, clipped the ball over the top towards him, and then he was furious because he felt like Amad Diallo should have played it back to him. Instead he played it to McTominay, and Byrne once again, who's done a good job against McTominay, was in the way.
Into the second of 3 added at the end of the first half. Another short set piece taken. Bruno Fernandes then momentarily robbed. He wins it back, feeds Diallo inside the box. Then he gets it back from Kobbie Mainoo into the area, skating through all comers and then running into Dubravka, who kicks it clear. And in fact, it wasn't Dubravka, it was Jacob Murphy getting back there to get in front of his goalkeeper and stab it out towards the near side. But Diallo maybe by a bit more luck than judgment, just managed to wander through half the Newcastle defence.
Yeah, I thought he was the best player on the pitch until he went off against Arsenal. I thought he was terrific, and this is exactly where his strength lies, is that intricate play around the box and then close control when he gets in there. Brilliant challenge from Murphy.
It really was.
Look, you get that wrong and it's a penalty, no doubt, and he seed it all the way, and maybe shows, the Manchester United wide players what it takes to do your defensive work as a wide player, to follow the players in.
Oh, Onana, that maybe getting a bit of range anxiety, because he gave the ball away rather cheaply with his feet straight to Murphy, and now invited the counter charge from Newcastle. Not a great ball from Bruno Guimaraes, and then it goes out on this near side and away for a throw-in to Manchester United. That's probably going to be the last act of the first 45 minutes.
I think a bit like Martinez for Manchester United, Amrabat gives the supporters that genuine feel like he will run through a brick wall for this football club, steaming into that challenge with Longstaff.
He was really popular before he came, Amrabat, like almost a cult figure before even donning the shirt. Played in the Crystal Palace game of the League Cup, did brilliantly from left back, and then it sort of faded for him, really. Well, certainly Manchester United determined to make their mark in their final home game of the season. The last time that Newcastle finished above them was 1977, and Erik ten Hag's team desperate not to give up on the chance to leapfrog the Toon at the very last. Kobbie Mainoo with a goal that puts United in charge for now at half-time. It's Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 0.
Erik ten Hag firmly head downwards, charging towards the tunnel to have a word with his players, but he must be happy because Manchester United are leading in their final home game of the Premier League season. And Dean Ashton, who brought us the unprecedented bad cloak of invisibility during that first half commentary. Let's talk about the goal that went in, Kobbie Mainoo's goal, because we talked about Newcastle's defence before the game and how many goals they've been letting in, and that just about summed up Newcastle's defending. Mainoo all alone in the box, but why was he there? Because Bruno Guimaraes couldn't be bothered to track back with him. He stayed on the edge of the area, and Kobbie Mainoo went to the penalty spot and was all alone. Diallo found him, fed him, and he scored with ease. Kieran Trippier inexplicably is hanging behind everybody else, playing everyone onside, which, with my England hat on, is an extreme worry for the Euros this summer. I don't understand what Trippier is doing, what's allowed him to be in that position. I don't know why Bruno lets Kobbie Mainoo go. Does he think he's not going to score a goal or something?
No, it's just not doing your job. It's as simple as that, because if you've got midfield players running into your box, you have to just follow them, because of that one mistake that might happen where Bruno misses it, it goes past your defender and it falls to Mainoo, but you've just got to be there. And actually, Amrabat's done that brilliantly for Manchester United so far in this game. He has followed, and you have to do that. But Trippier, he's had some odd mistakes this season.
Yeah.
He has had some. Before the injury, he was in a really terrible run made some horrible errors against Everton, and that's really unlike him, because he's normally so assured in making sure that he's on the line of that defence. So that's just a lapse in concentration. That might just be a lack of football in recent weeks, but it's such a bad mistake that it just leaves Mainoo with so much time to just pick his spot from the penalty spot.
Yeah, he couldn't really miss, could he? And I love the fact that seconds later Mainoo is chasing back. In fact, his defensive mindset has been questioned, but he was chasing back, trying to stop Dan Burn on the attack, forcing Dan Burn to fire wide. I kind of love that. Anthony Gordon on the left-hand side for Newcastle has really impressed. That spin and surge down the left. He's become the latest player to try and end Casemiro's centre-back career at Manchester United. But it was wonderful to see, and it was a great example of what you were talking about. He has to start for England.
Yeah, I think the biggest improvement I've seen from him is that first touch. Is that obviously awareness of players around him, but it's that first touch. It was that one to just spin away from Casemiro, but there's also been two on that left-hand side, and when you watch it go into his feet, he just kind of makes a little step with his right foot, allows it to run past his right foot, and that initial touch with his left foot just straight away opens him up to the defender. So it's within a split second, he's turned and he's on you. and then he knows he's got the beating. Brilliant in terms of just driving at that front foot of the defender and skipping past players.
Yeah, but Newcastle have work to do in the second half. They have got attacking options on the bench. Let me give the scores elsewhere. Here it's Man United 1, Newcastle 0 at half-time. Second half to come, live and exclusive here on Talksport. On Talksport 2 right now, they're getting into the second half of Brighton 0, Chelsea 1. Of course, Cole Palmer scored for Chelsea. Scottish Premiership, Aberdeen 0, Livingston 0, Hibs 2, Motherwell 0. 2 late goals in the first half for Hibs, and a big one at the bottom. St Johnstone 0, Ross County 1. Yandander with the only goal so far. Celtic are on course to be champions tonight. They lead comfortably at Kilmarnock. St Mirren 1, Hearts 1. In the WSL, Chelsea are going top. They lead Spurs 1-0 away with around 15 minutes left in that. And in the Scottish Championship playoff final first leg, Duncan Ferguson's Inverness Caledonian Thistle are in danger of being relegated. Cup finalists last year could be relegated to the third tier this year. Hamilton 2, Inverness 0. That's around about half-time. Second leg will be on Saturday evening. But on TalkSport, it's Manchester United 1, Newcastle 0. You're listening to Kick-Off on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Kick-Off on TalkSport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
McDonald's are making small improvements to our classic burgers, searing our 100% British and Irish beef patties so they're even juicier. And we're serving them hotter for meltier cheese, all in new toastier buns. The classics, now a little more Comparison with prior classic burgers, served after 11 a.m, subject to availability.
We all fantasize about our perfect home. Watching the big game, cozied up in the snug.
Another 7-0 win!
Balmy summer nights with the kids playing on the lawn.
We're playing real-life football!
But come on, this isn't real. Listen, if you're serious about making your fantasy a reality, find out what your home is worth instantly with a free online valuation estimate. Get real about moving. Get on the market. Most common time to obtain an online quote between 1st of June 2022 and 30th of September 2022 is under 3 minutes. Excludes Northern Ireland.
Ooh, you're a hustler, boy.
You know me. I just eat my KFC with free popcorn chicken every Friday.
You mean we just eat?
Whoa. Find your own deal, Nicholas.
That's cold. Come on, man. One bite.
Get Friday freebies from McDonald's, KFC, Pizza Express and Local Eats for Freebie Fridays and everything else.
Did somebody say just eat?
Subject to availability and serving times. Participate in stores. Check free item and required minimum spend on the store page. Fridays only. Brands and free items may vary weekly. See justeat.co.uk for details.
Whether you're drilling or decorating, get the job done with Big Spring offers on trade essentials at Screwfix. Upgrade your kit and save £10 on the DeWalt brushless cordless combi drill. Now only $159.99. And get rolling on those paint jobs with 2 for £26 on 10-litre Fortress Trade contract matte paint. Shop spring offers now on the app at screwfix.com or in store. Delivery fees may apply. Prices valid until at least June 2nd, subject to availability. See screwfix.com for full T's and C's.
There will be 14 minutes of extra time.
With Betfair's 90-minute payout, you don't have to wait for the final whistle to celebrate, because your winning bet will be paid out in full at 90 minutes. Betfair.
Applies to match odds 90 market or markets with a 90 icon. Sportsbook exclusive. Terms and conditions apply. 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Who are you going for in the racing today? The favourite. And tomorrow? The favourite. And the next day? The favourite. The Sun's horse racing pullout, The Favourite, is now in the paper 7 days a week. Yes, that's right. Every single day. Bringing you even more top tips, more form guides, more race cards, and all the colours and silks. Get your favourite pullout every day in the Sun, the home of racing.
Kick-Off on Talksport.
With Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Enterprise has vans of all shapes and sizes. So if you've got a plan, we've got a van.
From the touchline to the terraces.
Takes a step and fires it into the top corner.
Kick-Off live on Talksport.
So Man United leading by a Kobbie Mainoo goal to 0 against Newcastle. Let's get the half-time odds with Ladbrokes.
Odds Update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
So Manchester United lead Newcastle by a goal to nil. United are 20-13 to go on and win it. Newcastle is 17-4. The draw is 11-4. Bruno Fernandes to score any time was 17-5. That's now been price boosted to 4-1. That's the latest odds with Ladbrokes. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Odds Update on Talksport with Ladbrokes. We play together. Terms and conditions apply. 18 plus. BeGambleAware.org.
Right, let's head to Brisbane Road. The latest in that crucial WSL game there in the WSL. Ian Abrams.
10 minutes to go, still Spurs 0, Chelsea 1. A Chelsea win puts them top of the table and with a 2-goal advantage going into the weekend over Manchester City. Hamano with the goal on 37 minutes. Second half's been rather nervy from Chelsea, who have also looked quite leggy actually, which would be a worry considering they've just had 10 days off. They head to Old Trafford at the weekend, and at the moment they'll head there top of the table with a 2-goal advantage over Man City. It's Spurs 0, Chelsea 1.
And we'll have the final round of games in the WSL covered on Saturday on Talksport. We'll be live at Wembley when Jacob Murphy's brother Josh will be playing for Oxford against Bolton in the League One playoff final. We'll have commentary of that. That kicks off at 4:15. The WSL games kick off at 3. What's the latest in Scotland? Celtic on the brink of being crowned champions, David Tanner.
And they're just under 25 minutes away from being crowned champions, and they're currently 4-0 up at Kilmarnock. And I can tell you, Kilmarnock had the ball in the back of the net, and the goal was given at first. Danny Armstrong from just inside the box, but VAR spotted a replay much earlier in the build-up, and Robbie Dees of Kilmarnock has just hit the crossbar with a header. But Celtic very much in cruise control. It's Kilmarnock 0, champions-elect Celtic 4.
All the other action this evening on Talksport as Livingston have taken the lead at Aberdeen. Tete Yangi with the goal 7 minutes after the restart. Henry Winter is alongside us here on Talksport this evening. Did I notice you wowing about Anthony Gordon as well in that first half?
Well, I've been wowing about him all season. He's been Newcastle United's Player of the Year. Southgate's been watching him closely. Steve Holland is about 10 seats, 12 seats to our left, and he's been watching him. I do think, as Dean was saying earlier, that there is a vacancy on the left, particularly when you see Marcus Rashford, and he's had this dip this season. He's sitting on the bench here. I'm sure he'll be in the 26 because it is a 26 rather than a 23. But Gordon on form, take him.
I agree with that. Do you think Southgate will be as adventurous as Dean was suggesting in his potential England lineup?
Southgate and adventurous in the same sentence is not something I've necessarily witnessed in the past 3 tournaments.
Among the England fans is Safegate.
Safegate, yeah. I mean, to be fair to the England fans, the England fans who go home and away, they like Southgate. They like the way he's changed the culture. They like the way that players clearly like reporting for duty. And also he's taken a lot of the fear out of the show. And also they like spending longer in tournaments, which he tends to do. The issue with Southgate, and that's why they will look at that closely if he gets linked with Manchester United again, can he change games at key moments? But obviously Steve Holland has to come here, because if Gareth Southgate was sitting slightly to our left, all the cameras would not be watching the action. They would be on Gareth Southgate and his body language towards Ineos.
And trying to decipher any body language or even words that might be spoken between him and Brailsford or him and Jim. Yeah, you're absolutely right. You can't do that. Anthony Gordon being watched, Kobbie Mainoo as well. And listen, I don't think he'd be in the England team necessarily for goals, but he has got a goal. But I think all round, I think his game tonight in that first half has been good. He's just forcing his way into possibly even the England 11.
Well, Southgate likes basically a double pivot. He's going to have Declan Rice in there. But I think when you look at England's strengths, it is in their front six. And you're going to have to get Bellingham in there. You're going to have to get Foden, the Player of the Year, in there. Cole Palmer, who scored against tonight, who's been sensational for Chelsea this season. I mean, he's going to be on the bench. So I think England have to attack, because particularly looking at some of the defending.
Yeah, they do. And I think that's the concern among those who don't necessarily. There's a distinction among England fans, those that do travel away and they do love Gareth Southgate. They all love Harry Maguire. They're very much on board with what's going on with England right now. They'll be devastated, I think, when Gareth Southgate does eventually decide, or the FA decide, that's enough. But there's also the armchair England fan, which might be a bit disrespectful to call them that aren't so convinced about Southgate for that very reason. Imagine a fit Phil Foden not being in the 11. It's just unthinkable. It cannot happen, can it?
This time tomorrow night we'll be in London. Phil Foden is getting the award for the FWA Footballer of the Year. I voted for him. There was only one choice. I thought he's been absolutely outstanding. Not simply the goals and the assists. His work out of possession is just phenomenal. He's a pep kid. That work rate is phenomenal. So absolutely, I mean, he goes and he has to start. Whether you play him sort of coming in off the left, because Saka will start on the right, and obviously Kane and Bellingham and Rice are in there as well. But isn't that great? Those options for Southgate to have. And just on his future, if you're Southgate and if you're the FA, you will want him to stay on, particularly with this young collection of players. And is Southgate going to get necessarily a top elite job? I'm not so sure, and he's very good with young players, so I think it makes more sense for them to extend his contract beyond December.
So do you not think he is coming here to Manchester United?
No, I don't.
You think Ten Hag's staying on?
I don't think Ten Hag's staying on, but I just think it's all going to be sort of decided by Ashworth. Whether it's a Potter, I can't believe it's Tuchel, because he doesn't fit that sort of type that Ineos and Ashworth would necessarily want to work with. He's the best tactician of the lot. You can see him making the in-game changes. You could dispute his substitution of Harry Kane the other day, but on the whole, he is a winner at the elite level, Champions League level.
I also think Manuel Neuer has spoken at Bayern, and Tuchel will be staying there next season. Yeah. We shall see. Henry, for the time being, thank you very much. The players are out there for the second half. Man United lead by a goal to nil. This time tomorrow we'll be on Championship duty on Talksport in the playoff semi-final second leg. Leeds 0, Norwich 0. Friday, Southampton West Brom. That's live on Talksport as well. That's also goalless. Let's focus on the second half here. Live and exclusive on Talksport. Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 0. Here's Dean Ashton and Sam Matterface.
As it stands, Chelsea will finish 6th, Newcastle 7th, Manchester United 8th. For Manchester United to go above Newcastle into 7th position, they would need to ensure that they won on Sunday and that Newcastle didn't pick up 3 points in their game at the weekend as well. And Manchester United in a situation where they will face Brighton away from home. And Newcastle have got to go to Brentford on the final day of competition. Manchester United's best hope of European football would probably be to win the Europa League, to win the FA Cup and get into the Europa League, but that doesn't look like it's an easy thing to do. Here's Isak straight at the start of the second half, into the edge of the penalty area, trying to find Bruno Guimaraes, whose effort is saved down low by Andre Onana, and an early flash towards the Stretford end from Newcastle United at the start of the second 45.
Yeah, naive start from Amad Diallo, losing the ball to Guimaraes, who fed it into Isak, gave it back to Guimaraes, and just a deflection took any sting off the shot. Onana gathered comfortably. Good first half from Manchester United. Here is Mainu, who got the goal, trying to link with McTominay, didn't quite pull that off, and it's cleared away by Newcastle. But Manchester United in the red shirts, white shorts, black socks, attacking the goal away to our right. The scoreboard end at the start of the second half are on the offensive once again. I'll go through the 2-11s for you in just a second. Manchester United's only defeat in their past 28 Premier League home games against Newcastle, December 2013. Yohan Cabaye scored the only goal of that game. Alan Pardew, Talksport's Alan Pardew, was the manager of Newcastle at the time. In fact, Newcastle have an awful Premier League record in Manchester. They've won 2 of 52 trips, combined at both Manchester United and Manchester City, taking a total of just 19 points from 156 available. I think they like it here. Well, Manchester United in front of this moment in time. Still a long way to go in the game. Amrabat under pressure from Bruno Guimaraes. Murphy putting pressure on Dalot, and it goes all the way back to Andre Onana away to our left. He's the Manchester United goalkeeper, with Wan-Bissaka, Casemiro, Evans and Dalot in front of him. Amrabat and Mainu, the two holders in midfield. Ball given away cheaply by Fernandes. Here's Isak, edge of the area, spreads it to Gordon, inside the box, tries to tease it through the legs of Casemiro, comes back to the onrushing Anderson. He opened up his body far too much and then flicked it away, and it's out and away for a
Goal kick away to our left.
Yeah, it was really good play by actually Casemiro in the end, because Gordon just tried to open his body up and play it through Casemiro's legs, and he just went down like a cricket fielder as the ball came towards him with one knee down and one leg in a crouched position. Managed to block the shot from Gordon, and then when it came to Anderson again, he's tried to open his body up but just opened it way too much and almost passed it out for a throw-in, went out for a corner.
Given away by Manchester United again, and then ball sent into the boards. Gordon inside the penalty area, and he gets on the end of a cross from Murphy and produces a finish in front of the Stretford end to put Newcastle on the scoreboard and cancel out Manchester United's lead inside 3 minutes of the second half. Anana's kick not dealt with, one back by Newcastle United, sent down the right-hand side into Jacob Murphy, whose pinpoint cross was met by Anthony Gordon. He tapped home. Newcastle are level. It's Manchester United 1, Newcastle United 1.
And once again, they just look so vulnerable when they lose the ball. Manchester United, so similar in a way to the Arsenal goal, down the same side in terms of the cross. And once again, Gordon is ahead of Wan-Bissaka. Casemiro's not turned his body to see where he is. The ball in is absolutely perfect from Murphy. He doesn't waste any time. He gets his head up and he lashes it across. Gordon, outside of the right foot volley though, close into Onana. That's a decent finish, I have to say, to go with that foot.
Well, that is and may be a big turning point in the game. Manchester United conceding after just 3 minutes of the second half. And so much still to digest from what's happened even before and during this game. There was an incident with Marcus Rashford apparently earlier on when he appeared to be irked by comments from a Manchester United fan in the warm-up, had to be taken away by teammates. He looked a little bit of a confused figure in the warm-up after a fan shouted at him, but Christian Eriksen had to pull him away to make sure they didn't get involved in a confrontation. That's doing the rounds on social media. And then there is the incident involving Amrabat and Gordon in that first half, where actually on closer inspection it may well be that that could have been a penalty.
Well, just again, without the luxury of a slow-mo replay, you just couldn't see that Amrabat stood on the back of Gordon's Achilles just as Casemiro was making the challenge. You could see in the end why Gordon was so incensed.
Ball picked up by Anderson out towards the left-hand side. And he looks for Gordon, and then across comes Wan-Bissaka, who helps it up into the middle of the Manchester United half. Amad Diallo takes over, gives it to McTominay, swishes the ball out to the far side, taken down brilliantly by Garnacho, and across comes the defender Kraft in front of his goalkeeper to put it out for a corner over on the far side.
Lovely slick football from Manchester United. Down the right-hand side, played into McTominay, lovely pinged pass across just over the head of Trippier. The touch was just a little bit heavy though from Garnacho. Dubravka would have got there, but Kraft just made sure.
Well, Manchester United usually have an imperious record when they lead at half-time. In football matches here, they've lost just one of their last 145 Premier League games when ahead at half-time, dating back 10 years to September 2014. But they've been pegged back at the start of the second half. Here's Bruno Fernandes from the corner. Right-footed shot, saved by Dubravka. Parried out by the goalkeeper, and it comes back to Amrabat. Manchester United trying to put pressure on again. Oh, they've given the ball away. They're in trouble now. And Amrabat's going to get back because Gordon is speeding away. And Isak is free on the edge of the area. They fed him. He's shot. It's scooped over, hit the bar and gone behind. And what great fortune for Manchester United. Amrabat getting back and doing just enough to influence that effort from Isak, which spooned over the top, hit the base of the crossbar, the top of the crossbar, and flicked behind and away for a corner kick. But so easy, the counter-attack.
I mean, the trampoline touch from Wan-Bissaka was terrible. And Amrabat, I mean, the superhuman strength that he's shown in a Fiorentina shirt, and certainly for his country to dive across and stop that from going in. But I just thought Gordon should have delayed the pass to Isak. I thought he played it too early and allowed Amrabat to get back and at least make a challenge. That shouldn't have happened.
1-1 the score. Manchester United and Newcastle United live on Talksport tonight. Here's the corner to be taken by Anthony Gordon. Right-footed, deep towards the far post. Header down by Byrne, hits the defender. Was there a handball? That was the accusation from the Newcastle United on watchers. Manu brings it away, goes out of play on the far side, and out eventually off Byrne for a throw-in over on the far side. Goal at Kilmarnock. Here's Talksport's David Tanner.
And it's now Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 5. Matt O'Reilly, second of the half, his third of the week, and his 18th of the season. A championship-winning season. Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 5 with 10 minutes to go.
Did hit the arm of Amad Diallo, but a penalty's never going to be given for that. It was down by his side. Tucked in, Dean Ashton.
Definitely. Couldn't have been more by his side, to be honest. But again, I mean, why is Kobe Manu marking Dan Byrne at a corner? It's just obscene.
Have you not seen Twins with Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger? It's kind of a proportional mismatch that isn't ever going to work out in the little guy's favour. Full-time in the WSL, Ian Abrahams.
Spurs 0, Chelsea 1. Chelsea's top of the table and 2 goals clear of Manchester City. Hamano with the goal on 37 minutes from Brighton's ball in from the left-hand side. They go to Old Trafford on Sunday. City go to Aston Villa, and we'll bring you reports on all of those last day games here on Talksport. Finished here, Spurs 0, Chelsea 1.
Good work, 1-1 here at Old Trafford. Emma Hayes will be here on Saturday trying to lead her team to the title. I'm watching from up on high here, Steve Holland, the assistant manager of not Manchester United, Freudian slip, might be by the end of the summer, of England. Watching on ahead of a big summer for England, of which Anthony Gordon is hoping to be a part of. He's just hobbling off on this near side to get a little bit of treatment. He actually isn't going to leave the field here. He's going to take the free kick instead. Jason Tyndall in close conversation with Eddie Howe on the touchline as they prepare to send this set piece into a crowded penalty box. 1-1 the score. Manchester United led at half-time. They've been pegged back very quickly after it. Here is Gordon, 2 hands in the air and sending it right-footed deep towards the far post, and out comes Anana and sends 2 big strong arms up into the sky, grabs it and will then take it to the edge of his box. 1-1.
Yeah, terrific goalkeeping. Takes the pressure off. And it almost feels weird now when a goalkeeper grabs the ball and catches it.
As a centre-forward who would come back occasionally and defend set pieces, would you prefer it when your goalkeeper claimed or punched? Here's Fernandes at the other end, coming forward for Manchester United. Deflection of his attempted left-footed cross takes the ball behind and away for a corner.
Definitely claimed, because then you don't have to worry about when it gets recycled back in, which is even more hard work that I didn't want to do.
Did you ever sort of ask them what was the logic behind punching it?
No, because we never talked to them.
Here's Fernandes over on the far side. They're a strange breed, I suppose. In towards the near post, half-headed away as far as Diallo!
Cracks one into the corner with real venom. An unstoppable shot. Absolutely rifles it, left-footed, edge of the penalty area. Past the despairing dive of Dubravka, and Manchester United are back in front, 2-1.
You cannot catch a half volley sweeter than this. It just fortunately ricochets from that corner from Fernandes. I think it was off a Newcastle player. Falls beautifully for him on the edge of the area. He waits for it, and then he times it perfectly. It only ever leaves the floor about 2 foot, and it stays there. No lower, no higher, just absolutely arrowed past Dubravka, basically before he can dive. Stunning strike.
Stunning strike. Past the despairing dive of Dubravka, who was a little bit unsighted by the presence of Bruno Guimaraes. But it was a sweet hit from the number 16. And Amad Diallo celebrates another big goal. He scored a big one against Liverpool here in the FA Cup. A stunning moment which really caught Manchester United, probably their best moment of the season. And he's given them something else to cheer. And he's been in good goal-scoring form, not only for Manchester United, but going back to his last season at Sunderland as well. That's 9 goals in 24 for United and Sunderland for Amad Diallo, who has just taken the ball down elegantly and pulled it back towards the halfway line.
I mean, he was sensational at Sunderland, and they really missed him once he'd gone. And I was surprised it's taken so long for him to get as much football. I know he's had an injury.
Yeah, he had an injury, didn't he, at the beginning of the season.
But even once he was back, it's taken a while to start games.
And he's got an injury here. He felt he was caught down in front of Ian Hussin, the assistant on this near touchline. The assistant said no foul and play on, despite the fact that Anderson does look to have caught him a little bit there.
I mean, he's coming right across Anderson at real pace. So, is it the way he's landed? I mean, he went off against Arsenal with what looked like a slight problem with his knee, whether that's a reoccurrence of that.
Well, you said actually when the teams came out earlier, Ahmad's fit, because you thought after what you saw on Sunday he wasn't going to be able to start the game tonight. He's on the floor looking as if he's in quite a bit of pain, but he's getting back to his feet now. Second goal down at the Amex. It's Brighton 0, Chelsea 2. Christopher Nkunku with the second goal for Chelsea. Puts them in pole position to achieve a top 6 finish as we speak at this moment in time. So going Pochettino's way at last. If things stay as they are, then Chelsea will have 60 points and be in 6th position with a much better goal difference than Manchester United, who are 3 points behind them. Here is Garnacho, edge of the area, twisting away from Trippier as we restart Old Trafford. 2-1 to Manchester United, the score here. Diallo and Kobbie Mainoo with the goals. Shot from range from Dallo, punched away by Dubravka. Picked up by Mainoo on the edge of the area, fighting for it, scrapping for it off Hall. Clips it into the box, but to no one in particular. And then Hall and Guimaraes tidy up at the back for Newcastle United. Byrne clears up towards this near side, met by Casemiro, won by Gordon, on to Isak, quickly forward, didn't take it in his stride, and then was trying to chop down Isak. Casemiro missed him, and then the referee said, actually, because you tried to do it, I'm giving a free kick.
Well, he did try to hack him down, and it did then halt his run slightly, which then gave the opportunity for Amrabat to actually get back and make the challenge. So the referee was absolutely right.
Currently Manchester United 2, Newcastle 1, and for the latest odds you can head to Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Manchester United at 7-4 on, Newcastle 11-2, draw 27-10. That's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+. BeGambleAware.org. Going to have a couple of changes here, and it's going to be 3 changes for Eddie Howe. Fabian Schär, who picked up a little bit of an injury a couple of weeks ago and is playing with a slight hamstring strain. Joe Linton is just coming back from injury, and Almiron coming off the bench and onto the pitch. And off the pitch and onto the bench go Anderson and Murphy. And the final change for Newcastle United is going to be Kieran Trippier, who comes off, having played around about an hour.
Yeah, obviously good news to have Schär back after what was possibly a season-ending injury, but he's back. And he'll go straight into that attacking line, ready for this free kick.
Well, Free kick to be taken on this near touchline by Anthony Gordon. The rejigged attack of Newcastle approaches it. Cher goes up and tries to win the header. It drops inside the box and Fernandez will get it away. And he sends it long over the halfway line. Dubravka's going to meet this. Almost headed it into the path of Diallo. Hall gets there first. Referee doesn't give a free kick, even though the Manchester United fans wanted one. And then there looked like there could have been a foul on Fernandez, and it goes out for a throw-in to Newcastle United. A few animated Manchester United figures down in front of us. Bruno, Bruno is the chant from the Manchester United fans. Their team lead by 2-1. He just tugged the back of his hamstring there. That's the last thing that Manchester United fans will want to see.
No, but I don't think it's an issue. Maybe it was more landing on top of Hall's foot.
Almiron trying to run in behind down the right-hand side. Overrun. And the ball just drifts out of play, out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. So it remains 2-1 to Manchester United, live on Talksport tonight. Sports bar open for business at around about 10 o'clock this evening. 03717223344. The boys will give you their verdict on what they've expected and what they expect from the final day of the season and what they've seen tonight, their assessment on the Newcastle performance. How would you judge the Newcastle performance tonight?
I would say from the start, again, I talked about the aggression that you see from them when they're at St James's Park, and they showed that for 10 minutes. And then since then, I think they've lacked that cutting edge, haven't they? And they haven't got Gordon and Isak into the game as much as they should do against a defence like this that Manchester United have.
Manchester United, I think, would be the happier of the two by some margin. Here's Fernandez over the top from Casemiro into the penalty area, tries to centre the ball, loses his feet as he releases the ball because of a challenge which sends him off the playing surface, down the back of the camber of the Old Trafford pitch and into the advertising hoardings. But he's up very quickly to take the corner that he's won down this right-hand side.
Again, really good defending from Burn in the end. Manchester United got him behind, he went sliding in, had to make the challenge, or else that would have just been a tap-in for McTominay. And if anyone who's been here to Old Trafford, you know how much the pitch dips away once it's off the side. It's not particularly nice as a player as you go sliding and bouncing off that.
Fernandez with a corner, right footed in towards the near post. Casemiro with a diving header at the near post. He's now gone behind the goal away to our right and down the camber. Back to Fernandez, edge of the area, sizing up a shot over the top of the crossbar. He drove that left footed from the edge of the area, and it was about a yard or so over the top of the axis of bar and post, and it is out and away for a goal kick. But they have been slightly more the aggressor in this game, Manchester United, and after what has been a sorry end to the season, really, they've won just one of their previous 8 Premier League games since the March international break. I think many Newcastle observers were expecting something a little bit different when they travelled here tonight.
Yeah, I would say so. But Manchester United, you're right, have come out aggressively, and I think that is more what Ten Hag and what I saw from that Ajax team. That's what I expected. Oh, it's brilliant.
Joel Linton in towards the edge of the area. Chance for Longstaff, who shoots. It's saved by Onana. It was a one-on-one situation on the right side of the box. He hit it straight at the goalkeeper. It sort of came off his face, I think. And it goes back out to the far side. Bruno Guimaraes has got some space though, edge of the area, moving towards the box, plays it into Isak, trying to get some space for an effort, sends it wide instead, gets it back off Kraft and then tries to send it into the wing position. Isak back towards Kraft, far side, who's now playing at right back because Trippier's off. He crosses the ball towards Joel Linton with a header, tipped over the top by the backpedaling Onana, and is out for a corner.
Yeah, a couple of decent saves from Manchester United's goalkeeper. First of all, it was fantastic touch from Isak earlier. Ball fizzed into him, just a little Cruyff turn, flick in towards Joe Linton, pass in towards Longstaff. And all that Onana could do is come out very quickly, make himself as big as possible. And like you say, either took it in the face or on the chest, and then there just tipping over Joe Linton's header.
Great chance for Newcastle. Good save for United. Another corner in towards the back post. Longstaff with a header. Can't quite get it on target. Bounces to the near side. Gordon with a header back into box which looks a little bit disjointed. It comes to the edge of the area and Hall jinks his way past one challenge, then runs into Amrabat, and now the counter-attack is on. Diallo steams forward, goes infield to try and take on Joelinton. Gordon then pulls down Diallo, and Anthony Gordon's going to get a yellow card.
Yeah, I mean, that was the most obvious shirt pull. Think Chiellini on Saka, that type of obvious. And Gordon, look, the right attitude, of course, to try and get back and help. But actually, they'd done the hard work. Joelinton had slowed the play down. Then that's just a poor decision from the winger.
Anthony Gordon, who was sent off by tonight's referee, Rob Jones, earlier in the season for 2 bookable offences. He's in the referee's notebook again. Free kick floated by Fernandes to the edge of the Newcastle United box. It's well dealt with by Newcastle, but Fernandes has got another chance to send it in, and he does send it in right through the edge of the 6-yard box. And Scott McTominay, who was arriving, almost got there just in the nick of time. He just evaded the Scotland international. Diving header, that's what it needed. Needed full commitment diving header to get on the end of this. It was a brilliant ball from Fernandes, and he has the right to say why wasn't anyone on the end of it, because he put genuine pace on it. But you've got to dive Superman style at that with the head. Full time in Kilmarnock. Champion Celtic, David Tanner?
Sam, it's Kilmarnock 0, Celtic 5, and that means Celtic are champions for the 54th time. They are now 1 short of Rangers' world record of 55 domestic titles. Goals from Adam Ida, Dyson Maeda, James Forrest, and a double from Matt O'Reilly made this a 5-star performance for our Celtic side, who are now the champions of Scotland.
Cheers, David. Thank you very much. Congratulations to Celtic. And they are the champions of Scotland. Here is McTominay. Manchester United trying to see out this victory. Newcastle trying to get back in the game. Foul on Joelinton. Free kick to Newcastle. Quickly taken by Byrne. Help forward towards Longstaff. He's got Kraft outside him. He's got Almiron hounded by Dallo and Garnacho. Almiron, the Paraguayan, has it on the far side. He turns it back towards the halfway line. Infield it goes to Byrne. Byrne, slender, long, sometimes gangly and awkward looking, but such an effective defender since his signing from Brighton for Newcastle United. Here is Isaac toying with Casemiro again. Just is a little bit scrappy with his challenge, a little bit clumsy, gives away a free kick in a dangerous area. And it's going to be a Newcastle set piece.
Well, he'd won the ball initially and then lost his balance, and while on the floor he's then gone to try and kick it away and not seen that Isak was behind him, who just nipped in ahead of him. They've had enough of these set plays now, Newcastle. And Fabian Schär on as well, and Joelinton, that extra bit of height now from the set plays. And Gordon or Hall will take it from this left hand side. Now Hall standing about 5 yards back from the ball, and Gordon ready to whip it in right-footed. It is Gordon who hoists it to the far post, looking for Bruno Guimaraes, who just gets something on it, but not enough to steer it to a black and white jersey. And across comes Onana and gloves it, and then went to try and distribute it quickly, didn't, and Manchester United had a situation where they had a couple of players stationed up right inside the centre circle waiting for the ball that didn't come. It happens quite a lot for Manchester United. When Onana has the ball, a lot of teams you see either the centre-backs split quickly or the full-backs sprint out to the touchline. No one seems to move when Onana has the ball. Therefore, he's searching himself for where to play it.
Joelinton forward towards Isaac, stretching but can't reach it. Evans comes across on the cover and nudges it back to Onana. Rifles the ball immediately upfield, but it's not accurate, and it'll go loose in midfield. Longstaff will ping it straight towards Gordon inside the area, goes past the defender, left-footed ball towards the far post. Somehow it's evaded that upright. Fizzing shot from Gordon, and diving in at the far post, Almiron couldn't connect with it.
Too easy, far too easy for Newcastle. Ball just cushioned in towards Longstaff in midfield. He turns and plays a defence-splitting pass into Gordon, who faces up Casemiro, and dear oh dear, it's a pathetic effort to defend Casemiro. He doesn't get his body into the right position. Gordon just eases his way past him. And is he trying to shoot? Is he trying to play this? I think he's trying to shoot into that far corner and just gets it slightly wrong, and Almiron actually does well to even make it look like he could have got there.
Casemiro crumpled like a sandcastle after a tidal wave there.
But that he looked so uncomfortable in that position, and he didn't help himself at all. He was so square on.
Ball cleared away from the edge of the box by Cher, and you just get the feeling that there will be at least another chance for Newcastle to get on the score sheet here. Manchester United's propensity to give the ball away and not be in the right positions when Newcastle quickly go into transition. It's outfoxed them once or twice already tonight. Newcastle haven't been at their best, but still have got effective strikers of the ball that can cause the opponents grief. And there's 17 big minutes to go at the end of the last home game of the season at Old Trafford. Manchester United want to finish it on a high. It's a better performance tonight, but will it end up in a better result? Actually, Henry and I were walking back from Old Trafford the other day as the ball goes over the top towards Garnacho, and then Dubravka can't keep it in, and it's smuggled out for a corner. He mishandled that. Henry and I were walking back from the game the other day. We were talking with Alex Crook about the performance, and Crookie, big Manchester United fan, was sort of, they did better, and they worked a little bit harder. They didn't collapse. And Henry and I just looked at him and said, yeah, but they still lost. And that seems to have been the theme of the season, especially here. More defeats than ever before in Premier League history. You have to go back a long way in the history books to find a season as bad as this statistically for Manchester United. But they're in front tonight. Ball deep towards the far post. Casemiro with a header down. He's loose inside the area. Steered away by Almiron. Comes back to Casemiro inside the box. But Hall will get it away. And then Amrabat will step in front of Gordon, who looks as if he's hobbling a little bit on this near side. And Manchester United have got it back again. Ahmed, just a couple of yards in from the right touchline. Amrabat back to Wan-Bissaka. 2-1 the score in Manchester United's favour on Talksport on a night where Chelsea are getting very close to cementing European football with victory away at Brighton.
Manchester United have had much more control of this second half. I know Newcastle have had their moments, but possession-wise, Newcastle 58% in that first half, and it's Manchester United with 52 in this half. They've been much more the aggressive side, and it really does suit Manchester United better with the players certainly that they've got in the forward areas. If they can show the energy to press quickly and win the ball higher up, I think it would help them massively.
Hall out to Bruno Guimaraes on the near side. Ball sent over towards the right now, and charging forward, trying to keep it in his craft, and he's done just about that. No, he got something on it to try and stop it from sneaking over the white line and the perimeter of the playing surface, but he couldn't get back up to get it under control. And as he stretched down the camber, the ball just inched over the byline and out for a goal kick. Another change. Harvey Barnes is coming on, and off comes Longstaff. Interestingly, Newcastle's substitutes, Dean, have been amongst the most productive in the league. Their 14 goals scored by replacements is the most in the division, and one short of the all-time Premier League record.
Wow. And actually, they've had big chunks of the season where they haven't had a full bench as such. They've had some young players on the bench at times because of the injuries.
Well, they've got Joe White and Alex Murphy on tonight as well, haven't they? Here is Amrabat in front of his own 18-yard box. The general in front of the back four, who hasn't been able to take command too often this season because of injury-blighted campaign. Casemiro to Wan-Bissaka. You wonder actually whether or not this is Casemiro's last performance on this grand stage. has been linked with a move away at the end of the season. Some people have suggested that it might be time for him to move on.
I think it's going to take a serious amount of coin, though, to get him out of this club with the contract that he will have signed.
12 minutes to go. Fernandez felt that he was fouled from behind by Cher, and that was a little bit naughty. The referee's given a yellow card.
Yeah, I thought he could win it, Fabian Cher. And Bruno Fernandes just saw that he was there. A little flick round the corner, clever. Managed to just about get out of the way of the challenge also.
Manchester United, who for so long this season have been criticised for not having an identifiable style of play. The manager's come under serious heat. He has scoffed at those who have suggested that he should be replaced as the manager. He scoffed at those who suggested that they don't have a style of play. He said it's pretty evident for them to see. He also said that they were one of the most dynamic and entertaining teams in the league not so long ago.
I think he's come out with certain statements in the press, and I think it's more for the players. I think it's more to try and keep the confidence of the players up rather than necessarily. I think he'll know when he's on the training pitch and he watches the team back that there's still so much more improvement, and actually I don't think they're anywhere near what he wants this team and how he sees them playing.
Rafael Varane and Martial definitely going to leave in the summer. It's reported today that Aaron Wan-Bissaka might be having one last hurrah here tonight as well. There will be a big summer of chop and churn. The good news for United is they still have a chance of Europa League next season. They face Manchester City in the FA Cup final, May the 25th. Win that, Europa League is there for them to take. Maybe their best chance of European football. And a foul on Casemiro. Now Marcus Rashford, I think we're going to see a brief cameo from him towards the end of the season. Alessandro Martinez going to join him again. He's had a problem with injury all season. I've hardly seen him at all this campaign, Alessandro Martinez. He's been a massive miss. Reece James has been sent off for violent conduct down at the Amex. Brighton 0, Chelsea 2, last minute of the game. VAR involved in that, but Reece James given a straight red card. He's another one that Chelsea haven't seen enough of this season, and they won't be seeing anything of him again because he kicked out João Pedro in a reminiscent moment of the Diego Simeone-David Beckham confrontation at the 1998 World Cup. Yellow card given against Ahmad, and that was for trying to tug back Anthony Gordon and breaching a promising attack. Always generates a yellow card, and it's a free kick to Newcastle United. So 3 changes about to take place for Manchester United. Alessandro Martinez, Rashford I've told you about, and Rasmus Højlund is coming off the bench as well now. Taken quick to Joe Linton. Bit of a waste from Joe Linton, who almost conspired to give it back to Manchester United. 9 minutes to go. Can Manchester United hold on to this slender lead that they have and take 3 points from their final game at Old Trafford? It's worked wide to the Newcastle left. A decent cross to the far post. Kraft tries to keep it alive. He arrived late, tried to re-centre the ball, but it was an awkward one to try and squeeze back, and he could only find the side netting.
Yeah, it was overhit from Harvey Barnes. Kraft did his best, but as I talked about that slope, I think he had that in mind as he was trying to keep that in. He couldn't just wrap his foot around it. And the biggest cheer will no doubt be for Alessandro Martinez.
Well, off comes Amad Diallo. His goal celebrated with gusto, as you would expect. Once again making a significant contribution. Martinez comes on for Mainu. And there's that cheer for Martinez. Rashford is on
for Garnacho.
Trying to shore things up. I think Casemiro you would expect to go into midfield with Amrabat and McTominay, and then Højlund on one side. Sorry, Højlund down the middle, Rashford on the left, and Bruno will probably play on the right now. Højlund involved right from the very start. Maybe McTominay will drift over towards this near side. Fernandes looks pretty comfortable in the centre and doesn't look like he's for moving. Here is Gordon on the near touchline, trying to swing the ball towards the far post. Away by the header of Rashford, even though he was under pressure from Kraft, and it's cleared upfield. Manchester United trying to put Byrne under pressure, who sends a back pass to Dubravka, and he has to scurry backwards because it was a bit hefty. Last thing you want to do is concede a goal like that at the end of the game. Currently Manchester United leading by 2-1. Here's Isak though, trying to do something about that. Down the left side of the Manchester United defence, getting on his right foot, running into Lisandro Martinez, who chops him up like the butcher that he is. Takes the ball, nicks it, and then sends it forward. Out to Fernandes, left-hand side. Tries to put it through the legs of Joe Linton and succeeds. Finds Højlund, edge of the D, trying to work space for the shot, and squeezes it into the far corner, and scores Manchester United's third goal, and secures all 3 points. He runs over towards the near touchline. He puts his fingers to his lips to quieten the Newcastle crowd. It's Manchester United who are going to come away with a victory. And Rasmus Højlund, who hasn't scored for what feels like a very long time, has a goal in front of the scoreboard end that clinches all 3 points at Old Trafford. Manchester United 3, Newcastle 1, and Manchester United are going to finish their home Premier League season on a high. Terrific centre-forward play. First of all, Bruno Fernandes, the pass, he absolutely means this. Joe Linton comes across and he plays it through the midfielder's legs. Højlund does brilliantly. This is all selfish centre-forward play. He's got no thought process of passing to anyone else. He just shrugs away Dan Byrne, shifts it to his right-hand side, and then he does what you should always try and do, and that's fire it between the defender's legs. He does that with Hall as he outstretches a left leg, and it means that Dubravka just can't see it as it goes to his right-hand side. And I'm not sure what the Newcastle fans have done to Højlund, but he went right over to them, cupped his ears, shushed them. Not too sure about that.
Well, he's left on the bench today after 1 goal in 10 since coming back from an ankle injury. But he is on the score sheet in the final 5 minutes of the game. And Manchester United are going to get only their second victory since the March international break in 90 minutes. And at last, something to cheer about for the Manchester United supporters. Only a second victory in 9 Premier League matches. And it may well set them up for a late charge for Europe. You never know. Final day vibes unfolding on Talksport and Talksport 2. Arsenal-Everton live on Talksport this Sunday. I'll be with Darren Bent for that. Adrian will be at the Etihad Stadium. Trophy lift, twists and turns, everything you need throughout the course of the day. 4 more games will be live on the Talksport app, and we'll have a commentary game on Talksport 2 as well. Anything happens, as soon as it happens, we'll be live on the Talksport network. And of course, any changes in position will also influence that. Chelsea at the moment, favourites to finish in the top 6. Newcastle dropping down into 7th to eclipse Newcastle. Manchester United will have to win or get a point and hope that Newcastle don't. They'll have to better Newcastle's result because the goal difference is so bad. Newcastle at Brentford, Manchester United away at Brighton on the final day of the campaign. Here is Hall with a free kick towards the far post, heading down by Joel Linton into the arms of Onana, who gratefully receives it.
So difficult to get the power when you've got to climb on top of a defender anyway, to then generate the power on the header when it was just clipped in from Hall. There was no real pace on that. Very, very difficult.
Hoyland trying to get the better of Dubravka, who timed his run pretty well and came out and just snatched it off Hoyland. Hoyland seemed to slow up at the very last there. He was nudged out and away for a throw-in over on the far side.
I mean, I'm amazed. I'm amazed he's not just got there first, because he seemed favourite. And it's almost as if he then saw out the corner of his eye this big blue Monsters Inc. character coming towards him and just basically was scared. Simple as that. That's all that was.
Oh, given away on the edge of the area by Hall. Wan-Bissaka tries to get it centrally, blocked by Hall, and he manages to help it outside of the box and away via Harvey Barnes towards the halfway line. The Toon trouble at Old Trafford is going to continue here. Only one win in 38 visits. Ball out towards the far side in the Premier League and in league football. Joel Linton from distance tries a strike. It's speculative. It's way over the bar, and it's out for a goal kick away to our left. 3-1 to Manchester United. You're listening to Talksport, and the latest odds are available at Ladbrokes, where right now you can get Rashford to score between now and at the end of the match, 11-1, and Isak to score any time at 6-1. It's all thanks to Ladbrokes 18+. BeGambleAware.org.
Eriksen coming on for Bruno Fernandes, who's milking it for all it's worth, and why not tonight, because they're winning the game. He's clearly playing with a slight problem with that hand, wrist.
And he'll come off to be replaced by Eriksen. The next time the majority of these Manchester United fans see their captain will be at Wembley, 25th of this month, live on Talksport. A repeat of last year's Cup final. And actually, the first time since 1884-85 that the same teams have met in successive FA Cup finals. How mad is that?
It is.
And Manchester United's lap of honour might not be to a full Old Trafford when they finish here tonight, but they will do a lap of honour. And that lap of honour, Erik ten Hag insists, will not be him waving goodbye. There'll be one or two that they won't see too much of again, that's for sure. At least they're signing off with a victory here. It's been a difficult home season for Manchester United. Here's Hall into the box at the other end for Newcastle, whose away form has been their undoing this season and is going to be their undoing tonight. May well stop them getting into Europe altogether, because if they were to finish 7th, Manchester United 8th and Chelsea 6th, and Manchester United won the FA Cup, then they wouldn't get a European place. It may be that the Conference League is going to be their limit anyway. Here is Hall down the left for Newcastle, sent towards the far post, a deep cross which is sent by Barnes to Kraft, takes a deflection off of Dallow and goes out for a corner late on. 6 minutes of added time at the end of the 90.
Yeah, they've just not been very clinical, Newcastle, and I'm not just talking about the chances, I'm talking about when they've got in areas to cross the ball, the set plays that they've had. They haven't made enough of those opportunities, and when you're away from home, you have to.
Corner kick over on the far side. And it's sent in by Gordon towards the edge of the 6-yard box. It was headed away. It'll come back out to Hall, who's going to crack it goalwards and score. He scored here in the League Cup, and now he's scored here a brilliant goal, a belting goal. 25 yards out, driving the ball left-footed, unreachable for Onana, and it's 3-2. And Lewis Hall, who scored his first ever senior goal with a terrific long-range strike in the League Cup here, has another long-range strike which has damaged Manchester United and made them feel a little bit uncomfortable with 4.5 minutes of stoppage time remaining.
Well, there's definitely one man in a black and white shirt that doesn't mind coming to Manchester, and Lewis Hall has shown why. Manchester United don't get out to him quick enough. He has plenty of time to take a lovely touch, size it up like it's a free kick. The ball actually comes to a stop from that touch without a Manchester United player near him, and it is just like a free kick. He just steps up to it, curls it up and over the Manchester United players and past Onana to his left-hand side. It's a terrific goal.
Well,
a couple of things worth saying. Manchester United have had a habit of giving away points in the last minutes of games recently. In fact, in 6 of the last 11 Premier League games, they've thrown away points thanks to goals conceded in the last 10 minutes of matches. It's never easy here, it's never simple, and it's never predictable. It's Manchester United 3, Newcastle United 2, on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every single day. I mean, they've now conceded 84 goals in all competitions this season, Manchester United. The last time they conceded that many was 60 years ago, 1964. First match of the day episode, Goldfinger, Carnaby Street, the swinging 60s, the Beatles hitting America. You have to really thumb through the statistics books to find a season as bad as this defensively for Manchester United.
And that's why you're here. Top stats.
So you don't have to do it. Yeah. Harold Wilson had just been elected as the Prime Minister. Manchester United trying to hold on now to this victory. Full time at Brighton. Chelsea 2, Brighton 1. Chelsea have got their victory despite the fact they were down to 10 men for the final few minutes of that game. Welbeck scored a late goal in that match, but Chelsea have held on and they will claim 6th spot tonight. 3 points ahead of Newcastle. It means they'll only need a point on the final day to finish in that position. Manchester United, who have never finished lower than 7th, will have to win and hope that Newcastle don't, in order that they don't finish as low as 8th this campaign. And that's even with a victory here tonight. They lead by 3 goals to 2 with 90 seconds of stoppage time to play, and nerves and tension in the air, because if they were to get another goal now, Newcastle, it really would ruin the lap of honour at the end of the match after what has been a largely positive evening for Manchester United. Gordon sends the ball towards the far side. He's mishit that. He's shanked it really, and it's gone out of play and out of touch.
Even if that wasn't a poor attempt, I don't know what he's thinking in terms of Joe Linton made a decent run down the left. Just play him in. Instead he's come inside and then trying to play a cross-field pass. And when you're down to the last few minutes of added on time, that's where you have to be really assured with everything you do to at least get it into the box to put the pressure on.
Gordon, maybe one last chance for Newcastle United. Gets it back off Isak, gets to the edge of the area. McTominay stops him in his tracks. One back by Isak though, who tries to go through the circuitous route. Then Guimaraes wins it back because initially Eriksson had managed to get it clear. Barnes gets it back to Bruno Guimaraes, and Newcastle need to get it forward. They've got 20 seconds of stoppage time to do so. Is there going to be a late twist in the tail? Bit of anxiety around Old Trafford all of a sudden. Joel Linton to the right, one last chance. Cher into the area, headed away, comes back out to Rashford, who thunders it up towards the halfway line, and no Newcastle player is going to get back. Højlund is, and he's charging forward, and he's into the area now. He can finish it or square it. He tries to square it, and Lewis Hall gets back and tucks it behind and out for a corner, and that's probably the last act of the game.
Why play it across if you're Højlund? No pressure, take that on yourself, score yourself a second goal. Instead you try and play it across to Rashford, which is a difficult pass, and it gets cut out. Just go and put it in the net, man.
Well, I think you can see on the evidence of this performance why these two teams haven't troubled the top 4 this season. Too many holes at the back, a lack of ruthlessness at times in front of goal, though Newcastle have scored so many goals. It really has been their defence that has been their undoing over the course of the campaign. Scored more goals at this stage of the season than the entertainers did. Here's the short corner into Rashford inside the area, space for a shot, blocked by the defender Kraft, and it spirals out to the far side. 97 minutes have been played here. Manchester United holding on for a victory, just about getting over the line. A positive performance, a much better performance against a tiring Newcastle team, a tiring Manchester United team that might
need to summon a bit more energy to avoid the ignominy of an 8th place finish on Sunday. But they finish at home with a victory at Old Trafford, which means they go level on points with Newcastle United. And those two now seemingly fighting it out for 7th position. Maybe Newcastle can sneak into 6th if they're fortunate with results going their way elsewhere. But Chelsea the big favourites for that now. All things told, all three of those teams will look on 6th position as a triumph, really, after a season of trials and tribulations. It's only the second time that Manchester United have won a match in 90 minutes since they beat Everton in the first week of March. It might not be enough to keep Erik ten Hag sitting comfortably in the Old Trafford dugout, but it might just light a spark ahead of the cup final in 10 days' time. It's finished at Old Trafford. Manchester United 3, Newcastle United 2.
Well, from a Newcastle point of view, Anthony Gordon just summed it up. He was lying on the ground, almost couldn't believe they'd lost the game. Eventually hauled himself to his feet, but they have lost the game 3-2. Manchester United win their final home game of the season, and the fact it's the youngsters who got the goals gives a little bit of a bright spark and a bright hope for the future for these Manchester United fans. But they are coming to the end of what has been a dreadful season for them. And Dean Ashton, I have to say, the game management from Manchester United, from Erik ten Hag, highly questionable. They're 3-1 up and comfortable, and yet Newcastle got a goal. There's players turning the back on Lewis Hall's shot. They were losing the ball on the edge of their own box as well. Yeah, they had a couple of breakaways, but they've given Newcastle chances to score at 3-1. Man United should not be doing that.
No, they were acting like they were 6-1 ahead. You know, in terms of that clinicalness of, you know, getting it wide, getting down the sides, wasting time, you know, stopping the game at time. There was none of that. You're right, just trying to play out, trying to turn on the edge of your own area. And I think, again, that's a little bit of naivety from some of the young players that they have got, and that's a positive going forward in the next couple of years. But also a lack from the senior players that are not making sure they understand they're in position, they're doing the right things. There's an urgency still to see the game out. And in the end, you know, I thought they were better second half. I thought there was a different energy in the way that they pressed and the aggression, and there's no reason why there shouldn't be that.
They just about deserve the win, I think. The Newcastle players are over to their fans in the corner, and their fans are reciprocating wildly. That's what Newcastle fans do. But at one moment when they equalised, the Newcastle fans were singing their famous song Europe Again, Ole Ole. I was on a train with the Newcastle fans coming back from Burnley last week after they'd won 4-1. The noise was deafening. They were so excited about getting back into Europe, even if it's only the Europa Conference League. That is now in doubt because their away form it's relegation stuff, isn't it?
But again, I mean, I look at the performance, and I don't think it wasn't a bad performance from Newcastle in terms of the overall the way that the game went. They had more possession, they had more shots, they had equally as many shots on target as Manchester United, but defensively, all 3 goals were so poorly defended, easily avoidable, and those are the things that need to be sharpened up from Eddie Howe in the summer, because, you know, if they do want to get back into Europe, then you have to be more assured defensively away from home and not gift the opposition goals and a foothold into games.
Well, the Newcastle players make their way all the way up the other end of the pitch towards the tunnel. The Manchester United players are in the centre circle. They are going to be doing a lap of appreciation. I can't call it a lap of honour, really. It's more like a lap of dishonour, isn't it? I mean, so they will be doing a lap of appreciation. Erik ten Hag going around all the players, thanking them. They're all in the centre circle. I understand that Erik ten Hag will be making a speech as well, a short speech to the crowd very shortly. I wonder if he'll do what Fergie did and say, your job now is to get behind the new manager. No, don't think that's quite appropriate tonight. While we wait for that, let me just give you the final day scenario, because the table right now, Spurs are in 5th on 63 points. Their goal difference is +10. 5th is Europa League. 6th is Chelsea on 60, +14 the goal difference. That's Europa League if City win the cup. Newcastle in 7th on 57, +21. That's Europa Conference League if City win the cup. Man United in 8th, also on 57. Their goal difference is -3. If United win the FA Cup, they go into the Europa League. If United win the FA Cup, 6th is Europa Conference League. A little bit complicated. Brentford, Newcastle on the last day. Chelsea, Bournemouth, Sheffield United, Spurs, Brighton, Man United. We even have a scenario where if Spurs lose, Chelsea win, Chelsea finish 5th and go into the Europa League, whatever. So that's worth bearing in mind, because I'm not sure about anyone else, but I'm not quite sure I trust Tottenham Hotspur, especially after what happened last night with Ange Postecoglou. Going to quickly run you down the results from tonight in the Premier League. Brighton 1, Chelsea 2 was live on Talksport 2. Manchester United 3, Newcastle 2 here at Old Trafford. Yet another goal-filled game in this record-breaking Premier League season. In the Scottish Premiership, Aberdeen were trailing to relegated Livingston 1-0, but they beat them 5-1. Hibs got a much-needed win. They beat Motherwell 3-0. And St Johnstone levelled it up against Ross County 1 apiece. Celtic are champions. They won 5-0 away to Kilmarnock. Finished St Mirren 2, Hearts 2. The Scottish Premiership's top scorer, Lawrence Shankland, on the score sheet again. In the Women's Super League, Chelsea won at Spurs. They go top of the table. Final round of games is this weekend. And in the Scottish Championship playoff final first leg, it finished Hamilton 2, Inverness Caledonian Thistle 1. So Cali Thistle under Duncan Ferguson have got it all to do as they get to the second leg on Saturday evening. Eric Ten Hag has gone over to collect his captain Bruno Fernandes to get him towards the centre circle so they can all say thanks to the fans here at Old Trafford. All very jovial, all very happy. Ten Hag's just been announced and decent cheers. And he's got hold of the mic. Shall we take a listen to what Eric Ten Hag's going to say?
On behalf of the players, staff, myself, I want to thank you all for the brilliant support during the season. As you know, it wasn't an easy season, but one thing remained constant, and that was the begging of you for the team. But the season is not over yet. First, we travel to Brighton, where we go for 3 points, and then we go to Wembley. And I promise you that those players will give everything, but then everything, to get that cup, to win the cup, and bring him to Old Trafford. And we are sure you will be there supporting us. We thank you. You are the best supporters in the world. Thank you.
That's the speech from Eric Ten Hag. He admitted not an easy season. Your backing has remained constant, he told the fans. And he made a bold promise. He said, I promise you these players will give everything to bring the cup to Old Trafford. And then he said, you're the best fans in the world. I'm pretty sure at the start of that there were 1 or 2 boos, but that speech turned them around. Dean Ashton, a rousing rallying cry from Eric Ten Hag. I'm not quite sure it's going to come. He does know they're playing Man City in the FA Cup final, right?
I know, but look, I respect him. I think the fact that he's going to come out, he's saying those things. It's his second language, and he's just trying to make the point that I think he has got the passion. I do. I think he definitely has got the passion for this job, for this club. It's just whether the ownership feel the same and whether they are going to back him for a project, which it's got to be that. There's so much that needs to change at the football club to get the standards back to where they need to be.
Yeah, listen, he's done what he can. There was going to be no, I'm leaving at the end of the season, there's 2 games left. That was the news, the news hounds would have wanted. But he's given the speech, the last home game, and I think that's the kind of speech that it needed for these United fans, because there's little else he can do but give them some sort of reason to believe that they can win the FA Cup, because Yeah, Brighton's fine, and they might get into Europe via that method, via the Premier League, but they might not as well. It might be the lowest ever finish. So there's some records that he doesn't want that are on the line, but winning the FA Cup, if it is to be his last stand, that would be something special, something that he could hold up and say, well, look, I won a cup in my first season, a cup in my second season. As unlikely as it is, given that it's City.
Yeah, of course it's unlikely. But you've got to believe. I think he does. That's the thing. I believe him, when he talks in that way. But it's going to be very difficult. But not a lot has been said at the fact that he has got them to another final. It's not easy, in what is such a competitive
mate, they had a championship side that didn't even make the top six in the semi-final. Come on.
But still, we will...
And they nearly lost that.
Yeah, but we would criticise other managers that can't make a final.
Winning the FA Cup. The FA Cup is a lovely thing, but it's not a sign of greatness, is it? Come on.
It is.
Is it really?
Is. Yes, it is.
Winning the FA Cup's a sign of greatness.
Yes, it is. It is not easy.
So Wigan were great when they won the FA Cup, were they?
They were that year.
They got relegated.
In the cup, though.
If you have a good, if you have a favourable run,
you can't diminish the FA Cup.
No, it's a wonderful day out, and it's a wonderful thing to win.
And the achievement of winning it.
It's not a sign of greatness, in my opinion. This United side,
I think it is.
If Man City have Rodri sent off in the first 10 minutes, and Man United win it, does that suddenly mean Man United have been great?
Great to win that trophy, yes.
Wow, really? Listen, I respect the opinion, but I do not share that at all.
That's fine.
Coventry should have knocked him out,
but they didn't.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, but they're not great. Think about great. The word great.
Great is winning silverware. It is.
Peterborough United are great this season. I love the standards that you set. that works for me, absolutely. Listen, Manchester United have beaten Newcastle 3-2 in their final home game. It is time now for us to pick our man of the match with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.
Man of the match on Talksport with Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Whatever the mission, home or away, Enterprise helps over 120,000 people every day.
Dean Ashton, who are you going for?
I'm going to give it to Amad Diallo. I really liked him against Arsenal. I thought tonight, again, he shows that energy, and actually he's got genuine quality. If I'm a Man United fan, I should be excited about him as a player next season, starting on that right-hand side. Brilliant goal, wonderful strike, and again, taking an opportunity when it is difficult at this club, and he's not showing any signs of that affecting him.
Dean, you've been great. Thanks very much.
Thank you. I need silverware though for that. For it to be great.
We'll give you some sort of trophy. So we won. I won one last week, mate. Feel free to join in. Amad Diallo, our man of the match from today's game with Enterprise Rent-A-Car.